What's up? What's up, Derek?
Hey, what's going on, Ruben?
Same old, man. How's it going with you?
I'm all right. I'm hanging in here.
Chilling. That's good. I like it.
Yep.
I like it.
I'm here to see the live chat. Yo, what's up, Jeff Wedding? Thank you, Vivian. Have a good Sunday.
What is up, everybody? Really quick, because I always forget. Let me just quickly shout out here. The last couple of subs, JDB and Ashley Pie. Ashley, I know that you came over from Karen's channel, so thank you very much. And JDB, I don't know you, so hopefully you'll step into the chat sometime, the live chat, or leave a comment at some point. Let me know about yourself. Are you into comics, comic art? Yeah, whatever, man. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. Might as well do a little promos. Let me see. What should I promo first? Okay, well, why don't I promo the fact that Karen shockingly dropped something on her channel. Shocking in different ways. Two videos pretty close to one another, but the second one is very interesting. And here, let me here. I'll pop it in for any of you who haven't seen this. It's like a must click. It's a must click for sure. Let me put the direct link to the video. It's a short. It's a 1 minute short, I guess. Here we go. Go check that short out, Karen's short. It's not an unboxing. It's not a. I don't know. It's about comics. But you need to see it to believe it. American Idol comes to mind. Yeah, just click that and check Karen's new video out. If you know, you'll either love it for the right reason or for a wrong reason, and then you can leave her a comment and either give her applause or laugh at her if you want. I'm sure she'll appreciate the view either way. What else do we got here before I say hello to everybody individually? Oh, yeah. So I received something, I believe Thursday or Friday in the mail. It was not, it's art, but it's not original art in the sense that we all think about it. But why don't I actually here? So most of you know Mike Dellery, whose website is NSN Art, and he goes by NSN Art here on YouTube. And so he has created a piece of art that he's turned into, or he commissioned a piece of art. He bought a piece of art and then he used it to create a limited edition collectible. Which I think is really, really cool. And I bought a couple because he has a silver and bronze version. So I'm going to share the screen real quick, just so you can see what I'm talking about here. Here, let me know if this is working, Derek.
Yeah, I see it.
Okay, cool, very cool. So here we go, nsnart.com, everybody. And it's the FYPM coin is what he calls it. That stands for fuck you, pay me coin. Not really sure why they call it a coin since it's in the shape of a $100 bill. So the art was created by Linnea Strid. And here, as you can see, it's $49.99. They're limited to 100, either the gold. This is the gold version, and there is a silver version as well. Let me come back to you real quick here. All right. And let me put myself a little bit
I'm so big.
Larger. And let me show you if I can get this to focus.
Whoa.
Here, let me.
So that's like physical. It's not like Bitcoin, like
repping Beastie Boys. Physical. Yeah. It's like a collectible. It's a cool art piece, sort of collectible, limited to 100 here. So this is the back side. Let me try to get a focused view there. Okay.
It's very shiny.
And yeah. And this is what he calls this is what he's referring to as the gold version. I mean, even though the coloring is probably a little bit different, showing it like this. But as you can see there in the corner, I don't know if it's close enough to see, but this is number 019. So 19 out of 100. I have the matching pair of 19s on the silver and gold. And this is what it looks like.
Well, that's cool.
Yeah, I really love it. I saw her art. I saw the original artwork of that woman, with her head out like that on his site. And then he told me he was, creating these things in the shape of $100 bill. I was like, wow, that is really cool. And as I told the story in a recent episode, when I was younger and I used to lend friends money and they were mooches, and it would get to the point where I'd be having to chase after them for the money. And then, they'd be giving me, they'd have the balls to give me excuses why they couldn't give me the money. And I'd have to be like, fuck you, pay me, And so when he told me about this, I was like, holy shit, that's right up my alley. Here's the silver version for anybody wanting to see what the silver version looks like. So it's a lot more silver looking. And yeah, here we go. Same thing. Let's focus. Yeah, number 19 out of 100. So very, very cool. Thank you, Mike. I didn't let you know by email about it because I figured I'd show it to you and give you a little promo at the same time if anybody is interested. And by the way, everybody, they're like heavy. I weighed them because they were so heavy. The gold version, this weighed in at 7.6 ounces, while the silver one weighed in at 7.85 ounces. So it's got some nice weight to it. And yeah, there's a myriad of ways that you could possibly display it. I'd like to have it on my desk. So who knows? I have to figure out how to display these, but one way or another, I'll get it done at some point.
You gotta post Marcus's comment from 506.
Oh, wait, hold on. I'll be getting to that stuff because I'm way behind now. Hold on, everybody. I'm coming. Let me jump into the comments first of all, just to give you guys the not real gold. Exactly. He just calls it gold because of the color, gold and silver. There's no real gold in these, and there's no real silver. So there you go. But that's the direct link to Mike's page if you want to check it out there and order one. Feel free. There you go. And so yeah, very cool. Very happy to do that for you, Mike. Okay, so let me get back to everybody. Say hello. Who is who is here tonight? Number one Marvel fan, of course, as always. Hello, Jason Ladwig. What is up, sir? Congratulations on the state win, the third win of the season. Finally got one in again. So congrats to you. Jeff Whitting, what is up? What is up? Professor Crabbe is indeed in the house. Greetings to you. Good Sunday to you, hon. Good to see you here as always. Mr. Red Jack, what is up? I hope you're in good spirits and in good health. As always, of course. And hey, by the way, Brian, how's your mom doing? I haven't asked you in a while, and you haven't mentioned anything. Let us know how your mom's doing. I hope she's doing good. Oh, sorry, that's a hello to everybody. Rickster, what is up? Aranga, what is up, sir? Evening to you. And what we got? Mr. Krabs. Good day to you, David. Good to see you as always. And let's see, Derek is as intimidating on camera as he is in IRL. Oh, Vivian loves your shirt.
Yeah, see, it's cool.
There we go. Okay.
Thank you, Vivian.
And oh no, Scott. Scott wants us all to know that he got crabs over the weekend. Oh, dude, I'm so sorry to hear that. Oh gosh, man. Well, I hope it gets. I think you need some kind of one of the special behind-the-counter liquids, and it clears up in a couple of weeks, apparently, or something. So, I hope you feel better soon, though. Get rid of those crabs, man. I didn't know you were such a wild man, Scott. Let's see what we got. That's his daywear and nightwear. That's right. And of course, CJ, hellos to you. Let's see what we got. Then we go, Derek, you are looking svelte.
Thanks, sir.
Svelte, yes. Let us know about that, Derek. You on some kind of a plan or?
No, I just watching my calories, taking walks. Basically the trick is to,
Okay.
burn more calories than you
Yeah.
put in, right? Like, so
Yeah. But is that
that
is that? Oh, let me just let's come back to each other here. Is that are you on that kind of a goal where you're looking to lose?
I mean, I think I started doing that October of last year. So like I mean, I don't know. I mean, this is all boring, like medical stuff. Like, I mean, I don't know. My doctor said I was fat, so I was like, all
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
look, I'll try to work it out, right? And so basically, I started doing walks, at lunch and stuff like that. And then as far as food, right? It's more like finding the stuff that you like to eat, but is in that lower like basically like trying to fruits, vegetables. I like chicken, I like fish,
Yeah.
I like mangoes. Like just finding stuff like that where you're like, you know, you what what is it? You eat to live, you don't live to eat, right?
Right.
Like that's the deal, right? So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. And is this one you wanted me to show with about Marcus?
No, it was the one about stats. Where's
Oh,
that one?
okay. It does not come with the $100 bill, actually, because then you'd be getting it for free. He'd be paying you to take one off his hands. Bitchin' coin, nice. Hey, Kenneth, good to see you, sir. Coin of the realm. I thought this was a family channel. I'm not sure whatever gave you that impression, given all the shit that we've talked about here over the last 16 months or whatever it's been. I don't know what gave you that impression, CJ, but good to see you, by the way, as always. Let's see. Those turned out great, Michael. They did. Yeah. Stats of money is frowned upon, I heard.
Yes.
Well, you don't want the what is it? Who would come to visit you if you started? It was the FBI would be the first one, I think, right?
Probably.
If you started making
among others.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Good day. A little snow. That's okay. Hey, wow, early. What's up? Thank you, Nick. Yeah, please, everybody, whoever's here, there's 24 of you. If each one of you who hasn't hit it yet, if you could please hit the thumbs up button, that would really be appreciated. I would love that. Thank you so much. Hoarder's Hide, what is up, Scott? Good to see you. Carl. Next week's guest, everybody. Carl Sodergren. What is up? Good to see you. You make it whenever you can. Awesome. I appreciate that, man. Looking forward to next week. And everyone started saying this after Goodfellas. It's funny, though, number one Marvel fan, when we were talking about it, what was it, like a couple of weeks ago or whatever? I had forgotten completely about that. I love Goodfellas. I mean, I haven't seen it in ages, but I'd forgotten about that. And then Mike was like, "Oh, it's really popular. It's a really popular saying." And I'm like, "It is? Like, I don't hear people going around saying that." And then he said, "Well, I go, is it like in pop culture?" And he's like, "Well, it's from a famous movie, Goodfellas." And I'm like, "It is?" And then he sent me, but you guys know me. I forget every detail about every comic I've ever read, every movie I've ever seen, whatever. Man.
Well, I mean, admittedly, like looking at the art, I would have never made the Goodfellas association. But the minute you brought it up, then now I flash back to Ray Liotta doing his whole routine, going "fuck you, pay me, fuck you, pay me, fuck you, pay me," and you're like, "Oh, okay, I got it."
This is what happened to me when he was like Mike sent me a link to the clip of that part of the movie. And then I watched it. I'm like, wow. So that's why I had forgotten about that. Now, even when I used to have to tell people that when they owed me money, I figured, I wasn't thinking Goodfellas. But now that I know, when Mike reminded me it was from Goodfellas, I'm like, okay, so it probably sunk in after seeing the movie. It's in the back of your head, and it kind of comes out that way. But when I had to tell people that, I wasn't thinking, hey, Goodfellas, let me try to say something cool from a movie,
Right.
And then, like I said, I forgot about it completely until he just last week reminded me of it. And it makes sense. Knowing how my brain works, the way I always forget all these details about movies and comics and stuff, it makes sense that I would have forgotten that especially because I'd forget anyways, but especially because it reminded me when I saw the clip, I was like, oh, of course I would have forgotten that for sure. Because it's not like it's not like he was saying, his character was saying it during the movie to somebody. It's just that part of the movie where he's narrating.
Yeah.
Right? He's narrating, it's doing a voiceover kind of thing. So yeah, so that the visuals is what I typically remember better. And with the visuals of him just kind of, people walking through some, I don't know, whatever the hell they were.
Yeah, he's not literally saying it.
Right, he's not there. His character's not there.
He's going through the routine. The fuck you pay me might be a gun in the mouth. I mean, whatever, right?
He's just explaining that, right? Narrating to the viewer that, it didn't matter. If you owed me money, you couldn't pay, fuck you, pay me, Right. That's it, So Marcus says, it should be the other way around. Fuck you, send my art commission.
Well, everybody's been there, right?
But Mike, there's an idea for you to create one that's way more applicable to this hobby. Good evening, Dino. Good to see you. No, not exactly. Not real gold. Are they actually silver? They're not now. Gold tone. There you go. And yes, everybody, 26. A few more thumbs up for those of you who got here. I would appreciate it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate that. Gil, been a long time. Wow, that's nice of you to ask about his mom. Why? It's just a human thing. It's not, we're not just robots who collect art, right, Gil? So we're I'll speak for myself. I mean, some of you may be robots, and I don't know it. I don't know. But look, we're all human. Everybody's got family and parents and whatever, So when people, we're all getting older. So of course, if our parents get older, we get sicker and things happen, man. So, yeah. Bootlegging, what's up? Ointment. Hitting the leg because Cyclops sucks. Thanks, bootlegging. Hey, that is real crap. What's up, TJ? Caesar, no Maximus shirt. Nah, man. He's
do they even make those?
Do they even make those? That is
seems like that would have to be some kind of custom deal because it's because Maximus is so well known, right?
Well, anybody who was reading back then does know her, though. I would say. I mean,
yeah. Sometimes it does surprise me because sometimes it depends on like when you grew up or when you were reading it. Like I remember I had this awkward moment. I was driving around with a friend in a car, and they're like, "What do you get? Like commissions of Red Sonja or whatever?" And I was just kind of like,
yeah. No, I get it. Whatever. Like she's definitely, a lower tier character, whatever you want to call it, right? But if you were reading DC back in those days, especially any of the Superman titles, you probably remember who she is.
Yeah. Or Justice League, right?
Or Justice League, right? Yeah. There are definitely far more obscure characters than even her, for sure.
Yeah.
So let's not go too far on her, knocking her, whatever. And you love her, and that's okay.
Oh yeah.
That's awesome, So Brian says she's doing well. Oh, awesome. Great to hear. It is mine and her today. Nice. Wow. Happy birthday.
Birthdays.
Both of you on the same day. That's crazy. As your own parent. Wow. Happy birthday, my friend. Wow. Just polished off the birthday cake. Awesome, man. Happy birthday to you. And please extend all our wishes to her as well. That's awesome. And great. Especially glad to hear that she's doing well. So that's awesome, man. Thank you for letting us know. Appreciate it, man. Gil, the Secret Service. That's what I was thinking. Yeah. Secret Service, right? They're handling the crown outfit. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I appreciate it. So Gil. Let me throw this at you, Derek. Why not? Gil wants to know, anyone after any particular artwork on Heritage? And when is that? Is that closing like this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday? Is that how
are we talking about the signature auction that I don't expect to win anything in? Like that one? Yeah. I mean, occasionally I win a weekly auction, and I was shocked that I did win a signature auction this year, but that was like I feel like that was like a one-time exception to the rule or whatever, but whatever. I mean, there's plenty of cool stuff, right? I mean, there's lots of nice stuff to look at, right? Like, I mean, mostly I feel like I'm a spectator in that sense, but even some of the weekly stuff, like I paid attention. Like I think last week there was whoever won, congratulations, but there was a fun droids page that had Darth Vader on it and everything, and I thought it was really cool. And it was like sitting at like, I don't know, $340 for like the whole time. And then, the last day it went to like 1,000, and then it ended at 2,200. And I was just like, wow, that's a lot. So congratulations to whoever won it, but it's not for me, but yeah. Oh, that's my buddy, Tony, fellow podcaster. So we do the Fanholes podcast together. If anybody wants to listen to me rant and rave about comics and pop culture, that's where you can do it.
Excellent. And let me follow that up by saying you can check out Derek's Fanholes podcast at the link right below this video in the description. So,
cool.
Yeah, along with his CAF gallery and one more link. I think I got 3 for you.
There's the history of comics on film.
The history of comics.
Most of that's on YouTube. So, I mean, the stuff that YouTube copyright claimed is like, there's backups of it, and you can find it at the blog spot. So, yeah.
There you go. You didn't want Jimmy and Tommy to come get you if you didn't pay them. Let's get to the Zodcast. Yeah. Well, it's not
we were talking about that before. Like Ruben said, Zod dresses in all black, and I said this is an S shield and not a Z shield, and it's like a recovery, suit or whatever. But then I was telling Ruben, and I don't know, chat back me up, but Zod and the Phantom Zone criminals and Superman 1 and 2, right? Like, yes, when you were a kid and you watched it on like a tiny TV or something, and it wasn't in like 4K high def, yes, it looks like they all wear black outfits. But tell Ruben I'm right, that there's like, if you look at it really closely, like in 4K and high def, and some of the action figures they made, like they have those little kind of like maroon, kind of red tinted, like, accents or sashes, or I don't know what exactly you call them in costuming, but anyway, I was just saying, if we're going to get to the Zodcast, there's some Zod specifics. And then I think we were questioning before, he said 238. I think he meant Adventure Comics 283, because 283 is the first Zod, not 238. So
that has to be it.
That's what I think that was what the expectation was.
Okay, yeah. So I wouldn't have remembered that. Interesting. So 283 for Zod. Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. You didn't have to look that up?
I did. I totally did, because I was confused, because I was like, what's 230? I mean, I kind of guessed like he meant the first appearance of Zod, but then I was like, what the hell is 238? And then I was like confused, because I was like, that's not the first Zod. And then I kind of realized it was transposed. So.
Okay. Gil, if you do see 27 likes, I'm glad. Thank you, because there's currently 28 people watching. So that's good. One of you hasn't hit it. If you can hit it, I'd appreciate it. Tony, maybe it's you, since you're only here on your break. Tony, hit the thumbs up, please. Thank you. I'm blaming him, like I know who it is. I have some secret software behind the scenes where I can tell you didn't hit I know you didn't hit the thumbs up. Lots of auctions. Well, listen, lots of auctions end every week. That's the problem. It's so hard to keep track. It just like there's always auctions, right?
Well, I mean, there's a Comic Connect that's about to come up. There's Takes. There's ComicLink. And then the weekly Heritage stuff. And then there's the stuff you don't even that's not on your radar, or like CAF Live or whatever, or Comic Art Live or whatever. Like that's gonna come up. Like there's always, I guess, an embarrassment of riches to be had, right? Or to be sought after, right? So
Certainly. Number one Marvel fan is wanting to know, do you collect Superman the movie stuff by any chance? The Cape Wonder Network, is that a thing? Is it great? A great group. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, I like. I mean, I've had Superman stuff in the past. Like, I mean, I don't know that I focus exclusively on the movies or anything. I mean, I own all the movies. I must have bought the movies a bunch of times. Like I had them on DVD, and then I bought them on Blu-ray, and then I have a couple of I think I have like one of the 4K ones for like the extended edition of the movie or whatever. And then I think, I don't know, I didn't get too much into the movie figures, but like for a while, because I don't know, I sort of go through them, and then sometimes I sell things off, and my collection kind of gets curated and evolves. But like I had there's like a DC multiverse, like one of the smaller, Chris Reeves Superman figures that was kind of cool. And then I think they made like a Zod one where he bent the M16 or whatever.
Based on the movie?
Yeah, based on the movie. Yeah, and then I think later NECA did a nice Christopher Reeve Superman, and I remember I bought that, and then I probably sold it, but I mean at the time, like, I thought it was a nice, figure or whatever. So like there are some nice things like that, but I mean, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like what other kind of paraphernalia. Like I mean, I imagine like for that kind of group, it'd be like, getting movie posters and getting I don't know, maybe even like props or something from the movie. Like that's nothing that's ever been on my radar.
Yeah, number one Marvel fan is a prop guy. That's why he's. I guess.
Oh, okay, yeah. So maybe like somebody hunts down like that actual M16 that Zod crushed, or the costumes for the Phantom Zone guys. I mean, I'm sure if that went to auction, you'd clearly like see they had that little accent on the on the Phantom Zone guy's outfit or whatever.
Look. Speaking of the accents on the outfit, so Scott at Hoarder's Hide here. I remember Zod and the others as having black on black, like shiny black accents.
Oh yeah. I mean, I think that's how most people remember it. Yeah. Like, and sometimes it's even weird because I think like some of those toys, like I think it was like the 13-inch ones or 12-inch ones or whatever. Like they made a Zod one, I think, and people freaked out because they're like, why is it red? And like if you actually sort of look at it close enough, you're like, well, I guess I see why they made that decision. Like sometimes stuff like that trips me up because I was looking at like I think they had like a Rogue Marvel Legends figure from like the new X-Men cartoon, the revival of the X-Men cartoon that's about to come out, and there's that innate gut response that I have where I'm like, Rogue had a green jacket, what? Yeah. And like to me, I'm like used to Rogue having like a brown kind of bomber jacket like she had from the Jim Lee comics, but like if you go back and look at it, like it's I guess technically, like I don't know, the way it's lighted, I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to be like accents or to help with the way it looks in animation, like if it's supposed to read as brown but it's got like green tints for like artistic purposes. But if you look at a lot of those cells or clips or whatever, and some of them you're just kind of like, I'll be damned, it's green, like. So
yeah. First of all, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for getting us up to 33 likes. That's awesome. And 30 people watching. So that's cool, man. Yeah, you know what, Derek, if it's cool with you, we might as well just, guys, because somebody asked earlier. Oh, no, it was a Marcus. Marcus, you were saying, get on with the Zodcast or whatever. Just so you know, as has happened on previous, not all of them, but some previous episodes of Hangout. We went live with literally no plan, no thought put into it. We just figured let's just hang out and shoot the shit with all of you together. And that's what we did tonight. Derek and I did not talk about planning what to talk about. We're just here to talk about whatever and hang out for the evening, But Derek, since a couple of guys keep talking about it, Gil and number one Marvel fan, I guess I could have showed it, but I already recycled it. They're asking, what do you think that Liefeld Captain America piece, the really infamous one? Have you seen it? The one where his chest is all the way out there.
I'm very familiar with the piece.
Yeah. What any guesses as to what that would go for?
More money than I could ever hope to have in a war chest, right? Like, I'm sure. Like, I mean, I know. Look, like, I think I wrote something up today about it. I think because there were some people asking me about it or talking about it or whatever. I mean, my basic thoughts on it are like that's a promotional piece that's like highly been memed and mocked on the internet like for years, right? Like it's part of the internet age, but in some ways that probably like raises its cachet like to the stratosphere, right? Like it doesn't really matter like what your personal opinion is about the artistic merit of that piece. Like it's in the public zeitgeist and consciousness. It's in the internet forever. And on top of that, it's somebody who is a published professional artist that's been famous, that's been on television commercials and all this other stuff, right? Like, so I mean, obviously it's gonna do big business for them. So I mean, and then as far as like your take on you know, I mean, do you think it's silly? Like, there's tons of memes where people think it's silly, right? And they have a good yuck over it. And then there's some people that try to reevaluate it. They compare it to like that Arnold Schwarzenegger photo where he's like bodybuilding or whatever he's doing, right? And they're like, look, like this is, you know, this is legit. Like it's not for you to meme and make fun of. But I mean, I don't know. My only hot take was like I do like that first half of the. I mean, I wasn't happy that. I mean, I remember when it came out, I was not happy that the Mark Waid Ron Garney run was cut short, and then it went into that Heroes Reborn cap with, you know, because I was like, oh damn, this book was you know, really good.
Wait a second, because I had stopped collecting and reading in '93.
Okay.
Are you saying? I thought the Garney run with Mark Waid was, which so many people have told me was so great, and I've never read it. I thought that came like after.
It's almost like that Heroes Reborn is a hiccup in between because there was.
It?
Huh?
So it interrupted it.
It totally interrupted it.
Heroes Reborn. They decided to do that in the middle of the Garney Waid run.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, I was loving the hell out of that run, but yeah, they interrupted it for Heroes Reborn. So like it's like it was the tail end of like the volume 1 cap issues. So it was in the 440s, 450s, I forget what, but like, you know, towards that tail end, and then it kind of wrapped up. I think there was like a cover with Cap's shield on like the outside of the Capitol building or something like that, and it was like, you know, I don't know, some kind of, you know, almost final issue or whatever it was. And then they went into Heroes Reborn. They did, you know, I forget, like 6 issues with Liefeld. And then the back half of it, I got to be honest, was terrible, but that had nothing to do with Liefeld. And then they went to Heroes Return, and they brought back Waid and Garney. And then that was started from like a new number 1. So that went on for, you know, whatever, like a year and a half or so. I mean, Waid was on the book for a lot longer, but Garney, I think after that was like Kubert and, you know, some Dan Jurgens. Like there were other guys that worked on it after that. But that Waid Garney was really solid. And anyway, but all my point was I was not super pleased that the run was interrupted, but I do think that the half of that Heroes Reborn story that Liefeld did was, you know, was certainly better with him on it than without him. So that's all. I mean, I figured that's a hot take, but yeah.
Whoa! Sorry, can you repeat that last part again?
So there were Liefeld
better with the Liefeld stuff.
No. What I'm saying is there were 13 or so issues, right? Everybody in Heroes Reborn, like you know, it's like, look, all those guys were hot artists, and they all crapped out in the middle of the run, like they always do, right? Like, so it was like everybody was hot. They had Jim Lee on Fantastic Four, they had Liefeld on Captain America, and he was doing a little bit of the Avengers and that kind of thing, and then they had Whilce Portacio on, you know, Iron Man, right? And so they had all the hot artists, right? It made perfect sense, right? Like everybody bought the crap out of those comics. Like it totally made more sales than the Waid Garney run for sure, right? Like it did big business for them, right? But midway through that 13 or so issues, I think Liefeld left. So it was, I'm trying to remember, it was like James Robinson wrote it, and he even got that far. I thought Liefeld only got like 6 or 7 issues in before they. That's what I'm telling you. Like he did only get 6 or 7 issues into it. And what I'm saying is, then there were still they had to wrap up the story, right? They still told more stories, right? After
Born is the wrap up version of what they started with the return. What's it called again? Heroes Return and then Reborn? How does it go again?
So Heroes Reborn was the stuff with Lee and Liefeld.
Right.
And they did leave in the middle of that.
Right.
And there were other creators that wrapped it up for them. And then once that was all wrapped up, then they had Heroes Return. That's where you kicked off like the Perez Busick Avengers and John Chen Iron Man and the second run of Waid and Garney doing Captain America. And then I think much later, you got like Dan Jurgens and Romita Jr. on Thor, but that was way later. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm just going to put it out there, guys. Since Gil, you asked first, you brought it up. And welcome to the few extra viewers who just popped in. And and before I say what I'm going to say, hey, Karen, what is up? Lovely to see you. I gave your video a little bit of a promo at the beginning of the show, top of the show, so you may want to check that out. You may think I made fun of you, but not really. So check it out later. I just wanted to say that, for you, Gil, and you, number one Marvel fan, anybody else interested in that topic, man, it's so hard to sort of say, right? Because it's like Derek mentioned, and like the rest of you in the chat have mentioned, it's gone. It's so far beyond. You're welcome, Karen. It's gone so far beyond, paying money for a piece of Liefeld Captain America art, right? At this point, it literally is not about that at all. It is about nothing other than I want to own this unbelievably notorious, infamous piece of really badly drawn art from the super famous artist who honestly sold millions and millions of comics all on his own. Right.
That can be just as big a drug as nostalgia, right? Like it's not nostalgia per se, but it's the same type of idea. Like you're buying a piece of worldwide known art that's infamous, right? Like I've had moments like that where I saw something and it's like you don't necessarily love the art, right? But there's like a goofy piece of art and you're like, oh, people made fun of this on the internet. Like, wouldn't it be cool to own that? Like, and it doesn't just have to be that cover, right? Like, it could be something else where you're like, oh, dude, somebody made fun of this, or sometimes I go on, the TF wiki and all kinds of snarky comments are written under certain pieces of art. And you think to yourself, oh, it'd be funny to own that because of the the snarky comment or the funny meme that somebody made out of it or whatever it is. So yeah, I could totally see people, I don't know, are we supposed to put a guess on the figure? Yeah. I mean, to me, I'm like that's it's like what it should go for X, but it'll go for 3 times X. Like, I don't know.
Well, Gil, it was either Gil or number one Marvel fan. One of them said 80 grand. Look, I when I heard that thing was coming up, I was like, oh my God, I wonder how much somebody's going to pay for that. And in my head, I was thinking, well, it's going to be 5 figures for sure, but I have no idea where into that 5-figure range is going to go.
I would say, I'm not going to put a number on it, but I'd say it would go for like the high end of that. Do you know what I mean? That would be my
upper 5-figure range. Then you mean?
Right. Yeah. I mean, at minimum mid, but probably because of this infamy we're talking about, and because we're talking about it now, just like when Bill talks about his heritage picks. I bet you now, because you and I are both discussing it, it's going to go through the roof now. Right? So
we're helping them.
Right?
We should get a cut, man. We should get a cut. But yeah. Oh, and by the way, Mikhail, good to see you. Mikhail says, all hail Zod. And you see, look at that. What's up, John Wynn? Salutations to Zod and everyone. Everybody thinks you're Zod.
I'm like, yes. Here, this is my preparation. Reuben, ruler of Australia, activate the machine.
Don't quit your day job. Let's see. That will be the face of comic art for a long time if it goes up that high. That comment makes me think that you're thinking more on the lower end, Marcus. Where do you want to give a guess? Give us a guess, man. Why not? Yeah, because me personally, when I first heard about it, I was like, oh shit, somebody's gonna probably pay 15 or 25 grand for that. But the more I sort of thought about it, and then when I received the catalog last week, and I saw that they used it as the front cover, I was like, oh shit, they're
Hey,
gonna try.
you know what was the last front cover that went past 100K was that Transformers the movie cover. So it's in good company,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah. Oh man. And at the time, I thought like that's insanity. That Transformers the movie. And the guy, oh my gosh, insanity.
I mean, everybody at the time was like, "Oh yeah, it'll do 40, it'll do this, it'll do that," and then it went to 100K. So who knows? It could be another one of those things where it surprises everybody, right?
Yeah. At this point, honestly, I would not be shocked in the least. This is how I currently feel. Like if it stopped at 37 grand or whatever, something there, even lower, I wouldn't be shocked, only because it's a lot of money to pay for a crap piece of art. But if it also went above into the six figures, I also wouldn't be like shocked. So it's one of those kind of things, it all comes down to the infamy of it. And yeah, how badly does somebody want to own it just for the infamy of it all, right? And it's such a talking point and has been for so long, So Gil says, you're onto something. I believe it's a combination of things are driving the price. One would be exactly what you just described. Yeah, exactly. So it could go anywhere at this point. The last time I looked at it, I think it was at 13 or 15,000 anyways, whatever. That's what I last saw. I don't know where it is now. Quite conceivable here for someone to pay up for a piece of art they actually hate. Very true. Very true.
I can out myself. I would pay some money for like a Goddessy page or something. I think that would be a good deal. Yeah.
So Marvel, number one Marvel fan. I thought it would hit 100K in Rob's group, and he told me no way. 25K is the highest. Okay. I think 100K in all fairness. Okay, so you're at 100. Yeah, like I said, it's one of those things. It's such a crazy thing, and you never know how hard those heritage employees, how hard they really sort of pound those wealthy investor types, right? Because let's not forget, there's a lot of those types in the hobby now who rely. They don't really know much about this stuff, and they rely on the advice of the people that work at the auction house. And hey,
so are they regaling them with the Elon Musk memes and the naked cap like memes and all the goofy stuff that came from that image, and then like using that to bump up the cachet to the investors and saying like this is like the most memed comic art on the entire World Wide Web like forever? Like is that how they sell it?
They do work on the people who spend money. Let's just say that. Yeah. So that's it, right? And like I said, man, when they put it on the cover, that's when I know, they're gonna work some of those guys. Oh, look, it made the cover. Oh, it's really famous. Yeah. So we'll see how much that can push people to sort of bid on it. So
what about all the Captain America collectors in the chat? Like
Alberto.
Yeah. Like well, and then the other thing too is like I know I get like peculiar about art that I'm buying when it's the type of character or the version of the character and all that other stuff. I mean, I imagine if you were a hardcore Captain America collector, you'd want like one that had the big A on his forehead. You know what I mean? Like not the one that had the Rob Liefeld eagle or whatever, right? But I don't know. Like I mean that could be unique to me. Like I just know if I was going to buy a Captain America art, page, like I probably would want one with the big A on his forehead. But that's just me. But I'm curious what other people think. Like I mean, probably for something like this, it's completely irrelevant because it's like you said, it's now transcended Captain America.
Yeah.
It's absolutely. Like some other thing, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I believe, and I guess we'll probably never know, but I believe that the ultimate winner will be someone who isn't, a big Cap fan, but rather, I gotta get this piece. It's so famous because it's so bad, blah, blah, blah. It's for that. For that reason that's the main reason that the winner will ultimately win it, I believe.
Are you Cap collectors worried that if the cover does go for 100K or 150K or whatever nonsense we're spitting out here, that now you will have to contend with additional ridiculous increases in Captain America page art prices as a result of that?
No, that would be an outlier for sure. Come on.
I know it's an outlier, but people don't pay attention to that. Like like, for me, like, I mean, you want to talk about it. Like when that stupid Transformers the movie cover came out for 100K, there were plenty of people trying to sell like stuff that was, I don't know, 2 or 3 or 4 times worth its value, and it had nothing to do with the outlier or even the content of that. And I'm just kind of like, some stuff like that I looked at and just kind of went, no, like, I'm not interested in that, right? So I imagine like there's going to be those people that see that, oh boy, that Captain America cover went for that money. Well, I've got this page where what, I forget who it was that fought. Was it Brett Booth? I forget who drew it after Liefeld, but anyway, whoever it was, like somebody being like, I got this page, like, how about 50K for that? What a bargain! And you're just like, no.
Well, Scott and Marcus are on the same page, 150 or maybe even more, because it's on the cover, says Scott. We'll see. Dwayne is letting us know that it's still at 13K, but yeah, Dwayne, as you know as well as we all do, 11 days left for a live auction is the equivalent of 11 centuries. Like, it means absolutely nothing. Yeah,
it'd mean more if it was like 3 hours to go. Like, but I don't think that means anything right now.
Honestly, even if it was 13K with 3 hours to go,
thanks, Carl.
It would still, I still feel it would like suddenly boom, just jump as soon as it goes live, So oligarchs hide money, yes. Whatever the final price is, it can be justified and support any theory. I'm telling you, yeah, man, whatever. It's gone beyond art, beyond comic art for sure. Since it came out, it's the most talked about piece of art. Yeah, for sure, absolutely. It certainly is a conversation piece. That's really what it is all about. It's become more of a conversation piece than a piece of art, good or bad, So like I mentioned before, the market changed dramatically, and like Ruben mentioned, many investors are being sold on exactly the things that we just discussed. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. We'll see soon enough. 11 days, right? So Carl wants us to know it was Booth who did follow Lee on Fantastic Four. And
he's saying I'm probably wrong about the other one, so I guess I have to figure out who actually did follow up on that, because I can't remember to save my life.
Okay. 11 days means nothing. They'll probably exactly. It could go to an internet hype guy. It could go to anybody. It could go anybody at this point. NFTs are gone. They need somewhere else to put their money. Yeah, that's kind of true. Yeah, but we'll see. Whatever. But we were talking about it. I looked through the catalog and I saw, like I always do, there's a bunch of stuff that is really cool. It's like it never ends, It is, people talk about, oh, this hobby. Well, it's some people think, oh, it's in trouble. It's slowing down, this and that. And there's been a little bit of a softness in the hobby of late for sure. But in certain areas, a few random pieces here and there. But the money's still there, man. Just the fact that there are as many auctions as there are, and everything sells through, and most everything continues to sell for crazy prices. Yeah, and so yeah, man, I think it's the market's still, even though it's some things have gotten a little soft, market's still very, very, very healthy. And again, stuff keeps coming out of the woodwork, like it's unbelievable. From every era, I look through the catalog and I'm like, wow, like this great Silver Age pieces, Bronze Age pieces, and then I'm like, oh, look at these fun 90s pieces, which interest me more because they're at least somewhat more affordable. And the stuff I don't want to spend money on. But yeah, from like every era, you can find constantly new stuff. And the amazing thing to me, which was what I've been saying for a few years now, most of this gets swallowed up, and most of it doesn't hit CAF. You ever realize that?
No. Yeah.
Right. most of it, right? Like every just Heritage alone. Think about it. Heritage alone, what they have like 700-800 pieces in a of comic art in a given auction, and like how many of those pieces end up on like CAF, for example? Like very few.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. Hey, what's up, Hart? Last week's pal. What is up? Good to see you. You're here. Wreck It Like Ralph. Is that a movie?
Yeah, Wreck It Ralph. Isn't that like a video game movie or something?
He meant to say, I'm here to wreck it like Ralph. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. Howdy's all across. But so yeah, somebody I guess asked earlier. So I guess, and then I followed up with, is there anything in the big auction 11 days from now where you want to make a serious play for, like something that you definitely would like to win and want to hope to win?
No, it would have to be all like imaginary stuff, right? Like I mean, I can, if you want. I'm game. I'm not going to bid on any of this stuff. Nobody's going to outbid me for the signature. Like, what am I watching? Like for funsies or stuff that like strikes my fancy. Like I'd like a John Byrne Superman page, but I don't think I'll be able to afford any of the ones that are in this one. Those Action Comics 600 pages from Perez and Byrne,
Yeah.
those are spectacular, and I don't think I have a shot at those. I'm just scrolling through what I've got. What else? I mean, I'm not going to make a play for these either, but I do watch, because they have those complete UK Transformers stories that pop up every once in a while, and that's kind of an example of what I was talking about. That one, as you said, outlier. Transformers the movie #1 sold for 100K, but now they've got all these complete UK stories that have been selling from anywhere from, I don't know what, they're like 11, 12-page stories, and they end up selling for like, anywhere between $3,000 and $4,000 or something like that. But none of them are going to hit 100K, right? Like, so, and I don't know. Sometimes I just watch them, like I said, for funsies or whatever and stuff like that. And then, like I said, that I did try to maybe go after that Droids page from the last weekly auction, but I thought it went too high for me. So and congrats to whoever won it, because it's a cool page.
Yeah. No, for sure. What's up, Adam Law? Or should I say Wal Yamada? What's up, man? For a small way to answer that, I feel like the days of sub $2,000 Kirby pieces are long gone. I mean, pretty much. Because shit, even those pieces from his days in animation that you see at the end of all the ComicLink auctions, or maybe not at the end, maybe they're right in the middle of the auctions or whatever. Even that stuff, I've seen plenty of those pieces hitting 2K or more, and it's like, nothing too interesting there. Like characters you've never heard of before, seen before, So yeah, Adam, more or less, I would say, yeah, it's those days are gone. I would say, for sure. Carl says, looks like Lee took over for Rob on Cap, and he did remember that himself. Okay.
I looked it up. It says Joe Bennett and Ron Lim. Jim Lee did some covers, it looks like, so maybe that's what he's looking at. But it looks like for interior art, it was mostly Joe Bennett and Joe Phillips, it looks like. But anyway, just a quick look. But okay, that's kind of why I didn't really remember, because I guess wasn't anybody who was on the tip of my tongue or whatever.
Yeah. Well, Adam, Marcus is trying to help you out here, saying maybe Kirby Santa pages are under 2K. I don't know what Santa pages you're talking about. Are you making a reference to some stuff that must have come up recently, Marcus? Or because I'm trying to think, what Santa, did some kind of Christmas pages from some random 50s comic pop up recently? I don't know what those are. Destroyer Duck. See, I was thinking of Destroyer Duck, Rick, but then I was like, didn't those pieces also go to like averaging $2,000 a piece? That's what I thought I saw the last time they were hitting the market. Maybe I'm thinking of different title, but I could have sworn, because when I think Destroyer Duck, I always think about how what a mismatch with one of my all-time favorite inkers and Alfredo Alcala, putting him on a Jack Kirby. It was such a weird mismatch, right? But that's how I remember it, and I think those were hitting $2,000, you know. So yeah, I don't know. Oh, Albert had them a while back. Okay, I did not know that. Thank you, sir. I think the mid-priced art and sub 1K has softened. I don't look, the way I see it is I don't really notice a price range that has softened. Oh, between this and this, that stuff is all softened. I would not say that myself. If anything, I would say that what I've noticed softening, it's a lot of the 5-figure stuff that was like sold for 15 grand to 35 or 40 grand in the last, 1, 2, 3, 4 years. I've seen plenty of that stuff. The sellers, taking $8,000, $12,000 haircuts on that stuff. That's what I've noticed. Yeah, so I don't. Other than that, I can't say that I would notice it on a particular sort of price level, But maybe you have, Ilya. I'm not saying no. I'm just saying I wouldn't say that. I haven't noticed that, I'm going to get back to Gil here. Gil doesn't come in every week, and he's being really active, and I like that. And it says he doesn't mean to change topics, and that's cool. But has anyone given thought to the idea that some of the high-priced pieces, I guess he means really high, super 5 and 6-figure type stuff, may crash at some point and come down to just thousands? Whoa! Would you want to take that, Derek?
I mean, I'm trying to think of it, but I guess it depends on what people do with them, right? Like, I mean, if it's like what Ruben was talking about before, and they go into some black hole investor collection and they don't see the light of day for another 20 or 50 years and then go to heritage, well, that's one thing. But like, sometimes people buy these things at like, whatever your outrageous, I don't know, whatever's a high priced, somebody buys something at, 20K or whatever, right? And then they flip it like immediately, like a year or two later. It's like, and then it goes for 8K. Like, is that the market softening? Did they pay too much for it? Was the only person that was bidding against them the only person buying it? Like, look, I can only speak for myself, right? Like, I got into a bid war at Heritage with somebody over a Transformer cover, and I lost. And in the long run,
UK or Marvel?
It was IDW.
Oh, IDW, okay.
Right. And so I lost. But in the long run, that did me a favor because he put it back up on Heritage this year, and I won it for like $500 less than what I would have paid for it had I been the winning bidder.
Right.
So, I mean, look, there's going to be examples of both those things. Like, I'm not qualified to tell you the fucking sky is falling or any of this bullshit, but I can just tell you my personal story. Like, and if you, I don't know, if you're mindful of what your focus is and what your market is and the stuff you like, right? Like, you'll notice the ebbs and flows. I mean, or sometimes if you have friends, right? Like, my friend Ruben won some auctions recently, and that kind of gave me some pause as to like, oh, am I underestimating the value of DC covers, right? Like, and it's like that's something, I had to consider for myself, because I had, certain figures and numbers in my mind of what I would and wouldn't pay, what I have paid in the past for a DC cover. And then now I'm kind of seeing things, whatever we're talking about, whether it's a Marvel piece or a Kirby used to go for, 2K, or now the days of that are long gone. Like, whatever it is you're focusing on, it's like, yeah, there's going to be, ebbs and flows in that. But I mean, if there's something, I don't know, if there's something hyper specific that you like, that you focus on, like, and you kind of stay after that for a while, I mean, I'm sure you can find something that you love that is not irresponsible for you to buy. And I guess I'll just leave it at that.
Yeah. Gil, I just want to say my own opinion. Absolutely not. Never going to happen. I don't want to get into a huge, long sort of discussion as to, why. You're not a regular, unfortunately, and I just do want to say we've talked about this topic in the past on other episodes, you know, because there are people who took who take the thought process of, well, we're probably the last generation who's going to care about this stuff because there's no young kids reading comics now. Therefore, when we kick off 20 years from now, who's going to want this stuff? So there's a segment of the hobby who thinks that way, Gil. And that means it'll all come crashing down and be worth, I guess, a tiny percentage of what it is today. But I still think those people are in the minority. I think in general, while some things may be soft at the moment, listen, with the trajectory that sort of went almost, straight up over the last few years, like it's about damn time that the hobby took a breather, right? It can go straight up forever. So yeah, like whatever's happening now, it's not much. It's not, there's not a lot of things going down. Certainly not across the board. That where you can say the entire market's soft. No, just certain pieces here and there. And so I don't see that happening. What your scenario of, super high, $50,000 or $100,000 type pieces one day, coming crashing down, and now they're only worth $5 or $10 grand or whatever. I don't see that. I don't see it. Who can tell the future? But I would bet money that never going to happen. And like Marcus is, is saying that, which was why I left it here. I don't want to forget. No one will be desperate enough to sell for that low. I agree with that too. Yeah. So that's my view. And yeah, don't count on it, man. Don't wait around. If you got money, Gil, if you got money, don't wait around too long to start parking it in this hobby. If you're thinking, especially if you're thinking that you're going to be getting things like at 10% what they're worth now down the road, I would say just start picking and choosing now, when you do see a little bit of softness, I don't see it getting much worse. Like I said, and I've said in past shows when we've all discussed this topic, barring, okay, let's put it this way. I guess the easiest way to put it is I don't see it ever happening, barring, okay, the only exception I would put out there is if we ever saw something like a COVID, right? A pandemic, but one in which it was so deadly that like people were walking along down the street and suddenly and dropping dead as they walk on this, that kind of like the Black Plague of the 700 years ago or whatever, that kind of stuff. If that kind of stuff happens, I could see, okay, the world would be terrified enough to like, oh shit, maybe, what are we going to do? But other than that, but even still at that point, here's the problem. Even if that happened, this stuff isn't liquid enough for the prices to come collapsing down the way that they do in a stock market crash. Because in a stock market crash, the reason it crashes so quickly is because of the fact that there are millions of shares. They're widely held by hundreds of millions of people. And everybody rushing to the exit, which on a computer, it's a couple of clicks of a button, sell everything. And there's a buyer there. That's why it just drops, because there's way more people selling at the same time than there are people here on this end looking to buy it at a certain price. That's why that happens. But with illiquid assets like original artwork, I can't see any scenario under which the hobby would suddenly, like how do you dump? How does the entire hobby start dumping quickly? You have to have a bunch of people in the hobby looking to buy it all quickly, right? So that's the thing. And in a really super deadly pandemic, like I just described, nobody's going to be thinking of, I got to buy more artwork, And so therefore, I think people are going to be stuck with whatever arts, collections they have until the whole pandemic, the crazy pandemic would sort of settle itself out, see what happens. And we'll see if the world comes back to sort of normal after that. And,
Well, I have long-standing arrangements to trade canned food for Maxima pages when that all goes down. So we'll see what happens.
Canned food for Maxima pages. With your sign out there, we'll trade canned food for Maxima pages.
Hey, that's going to be some valuable shit when that goes down. So.
And Maki Poo Poo, I wanted to congratulate you on getting that Transformers for $500 less than you would have had it.
Thanks, Maki Poo Poo.
Good to see you, Michael, by the way. Dwayne says, with art going more digital, physical will definitely hold some value. I don't even, I mean, there's some truth to that. I don't even think that's the reason, that's the reason that it would hold its value, but there is some truth to that anyways. Sure. Marcus, I'll make you the best deal. You guys and your stats. How long is this running joke gonna last? I mean,
until they stop flooding the CAF update lists with stats, I assume.
Well, I thought the whole joke was that I thought they were joking around. The point of the joke was that they were joking just because they were pissed off that Anthony offered some stats in round 2 of the Dueling Dealer episode, and after
well,
that,
there are occasional updates of these stats that are attributed to T-shirts and posters and whatnot. So, right. and some people have bought them, and some people are making jokes about them. But yeah, I imagine, like, when maybe the next batch of posts is some other artist's prelims or some other thing, then maybe they'll move on to the next thing. But yeah.
Yeah. That's right. A real pandemic, Mike. Yes, sir. Gil says, never considered the generational perspective. Thank you both for your thoughts. Thank you, Derek. Yes, absolutely, Gil. Thank you, man. Thank you for your participation. I hope that you tune in on some other episodes a little more often from time to time. I love your participation. It's awesome, man. What did I wanted to check? Yeah, number one Marvel fan needs to cool off for a while. Okay, fair enough. As well as the artist prices, which I get it, they deserve a fair price for their work, but too many ask 1K for a $30 sketch. You're saying just needs to cool a little. Yeah, listen, any superheated market that's been skyrocketing needs to cool. It's just that, unlike the stock market, this one will never cool in the same way. We will never have the opportunity to suddenly take advantage of tons of art just being dumped onto the market, while there's like so few buyers that it all ends at like 10% of what it previously sold for. I can't see that ever happening. So unfortunately, pick your spots and buy right now. Pick your spots at auction now, man. I always tell people, like, if you're not hung up on artist name, if you're more of a character collector, buy stuff at ComicLink. I mean, to me, I always get the best prices at ComicLink. I mean, so many people that I know don't like to use ComicLink because they don't like the website. They don't like the fact that they can't track stuff. And because of those people not being there, there's that fewer amount to put money into it. And a lot of stuff there goes for really fair price.
I won some cool stuff. I haven't posted the CAF yet on ComicLink. Like, so yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Well, of course you'd buy if you have the cash flow and it's pennies on the dollar, for sure. Another pandemic is coming. It just feels like it's going to happen. You think so? Man, let's hope not. I'm joking that anybody can make a stat. I don't know, but Anthony's stat stuff. Okay, well, I don't know either because I don't watch, but I just know from what Marcus and everybody else says, and all the jokes they're making on CAF and stuff. He's keeping. Well, a few guys are keeping it alive. Making a joke about light boxing. Yes, I saw that earlier. Anthony's G.I. Joe stat. They were G.I. Joe. Oh, were very cool. I didn't buy any, but they were very cool. See, that's the thing, guys. You see that for all of us who will maybe complain about something like that, there's always going to be some people, no matter how few or how many, that will think the opposite, right? And be like, maybe I won't buy it, but wow, those things are pretty neat, you know?
I mean, typically stuff you put on t-shirts or whatever it is pretty iconic to begin with, right? So I mean, I get it. But I also kind of get that if it's a stat, like you obviously, maybe wiser heads would prevail and you wouldn't spend hundreds of dollars on a stat either, right?
Right. Good to see you, by the way, Caesar, as always. Rick says, is a stat of a stat considered a stat recreation? Oh boy, I don't even want to go there. Bill emailed me that there won't be a stat on that show anymore. There you go. Okay. There you go. So you should all be happy. All you guys who were pissed off about that happening, there you go. You should be happy now. Derek, I'm curious. On a previous episode, I don't know how it all came up, just kind of randomly, I guess. But it turned out that, like I was saying, are you people? Somebody asked, oh, have you been buying stuff lately or whatever? And I remember saying, oh, I haven't really been buying too much. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, shit, wait a second. The only reason I thought momentarily that I hadn't been buying much lately, it's because I hadn't picked up anything in maybe like 3 months. But previous to that, I had spent like tens of thousands on stuff because the Tom Grummett Floodgates opened up this year for me, and I probably have spent more this year than I have in any other single year in the hobby, which is insane because I want to kind of sort of dwindle my way down to stop collecting. I don't want to be setting records, whatever, right? But I was kind of thinking, well, the stuff that's been popping up, it's been stuff that I've been waiting for to show up for years.
Yeah,
stuff I've wanted for years. Like, this year, this calendar year alone, I picked up a few new Titans covers.
Yeah.
I hadn't had an opportunity in many, many years. So God, I have to go for it, Superboy, as always. I'm always looking for Superboy covers. And so a few of those suddenly came out of the woodwork. Oh, I got to go for those. So I'm not happy with all the money I've had to spend this year. I'm not. But I'm at that point where I feel like, okay, I don't care what anybody says. I know everybody likes to make fun of me because I always repeat this, but I really am close to the end. I feel it. I just feel it inside that I'm close to the end of collecting. And so because of that, I feel like, okay, this stuff that I've been looking for years, when it comes up, okay, I haven't stopped collecting quite yet. So I got to get it. Because my thought process is, well, even if I decide I'm going to stop next year, and by the way, I got to say, everyone, I have a history. There's precedent here. I have a history of when I stop collecting something, I usually end up also selling off my collection as well. I end up putting it back in and letting other people enjoy it. Not to say that when I stop collecting original art that will happen, but there's precedent and it could happen, absolutely. And so my thought was just, man, this whole year I'm like, oh, more money. But I was like, okay, even if I only collect for another couple of years, let's say, I still am happy enough to I want to enjoy these pieces for whatever amount of time that I am going to be in the hobby, And so even if I buy them now and I sell them a year or two from now or 3 years or whatever, I'm good. Like I'm happy knowing that, hey, I got some great enjoyment out of these pieces for whatever time I own them, I'm curious with you, how has this calendar year been for you? Do you even think of it that way? Does it sort of keep a running tally in your head of,
I mean, if you're just honest about it, like 2023 is the most money I've spent on art since I've been in the hobby. But I mean,
really?
technically, the only I mean, I haven't been in the hobby very long compared to other people, right? Like, I mean, as far as published art goes, like I only started in 2020. So, I mean, I think I was operating under the, this is a fun thing. Maybe I'll buy one piece of art, like type thing. And then, it turned into a collection, right? And I think, I guess I get what you're saying because I've gone through whatever the hobby was. I mean, I've gone through multiple, like, I don't know, lifetimes of collections. Like it's like I've done what I refer to as great purges. And that's kind of what you're talking about. You get out of a hobby and then you sell. I mean, basically as much of it as you possibly can, right? That's you getting out of it, right? And I did it with comic books, I did it with toys, I did it with statues, I did it with whatever, right? And admittedly, like I don't know. So sometimes what I found was, especially in the years leading up to 2020, there were things where I kind of, the nostalgia bug, hit. So it's like, do I have, I don't know, 20 long boxes of comics anymore? Hell no. But do I have a spinner rack that has like all the comics I bought when I was a kid? Because that's gives me the feel goods. Like,
That's
yeah,
cool.
I went and did that for myself. Like, I don't know. I don't know if it's just a matter of like, what can I display? What makes me happy? Those kind of things. Like I tend to focus on that. I mean, I like that more than talking about like this financial stuff. I mean, I know it's a concern. Like I get what you're getting at. Like yes, no one's made of money. We don't have money trees, like all that kind of stuff, right? Like, so it's like, basically to me, I think it's a balance of, being responsible, but also enjoying your hobby. And if either of those two things aren't going on, then maybe you're right. Maybe it's time to find another hobby, or get out of the hobby, or whatever it is. Like, I mean, if all you're thinking about that's keeping you up at night and making you toss and turn is the market going to fall out from the hobby, maybe, just maybe, it's time to get a new fucking hobby. You know what I mean? Like that. I mean, that's kind of my take on it. Like, I do this because it brings me happiness, because I get some nostalgic page that I bought when from a comic I bought when I was a kid or something like that. And to be perfectly honest, it doesn't matter to me if it's $100 or it's $15,000. Like that's why I did it, right? And of course, yes, when it gets to that high end of things, like, yes, you have to consider that you maybe you do have to, maybe I'm the foolish one, right? Like, maybe I should be more concerned about the market of whatever it was I paid for in that range. And if I start to see the market drop out from that thing, maybe being responsible would be, oh, if I see the market drop out from what X type of pages, maybe it's time to, like you said, put it all up and let some big time investor foot the bill and then get out, right? But I mean, I don't know. I just, to me, like, is this the year I spent the most money on comic art? Yes. Is this? But I feel like I transition, right? Because I mean, I used to spend a lot of money on statues and toys and DVDs and Blu-rays and whatever it was. Like, so it's like it's going somewhere else. And I guess, I don't know, maybe I've conned myself into thinking that this hobby is a little more stable than other hobbies. Like, if you buy a toy and you pay $100 for a toy and then you take it out of the box, you've already decreased the value, right? If you then futz around with the toy and pose the toy and whatever, and it breaks, well, you've decreased it even more, right? And it's like, well, at least from what they tell me, I mean, as long as your dog doesn't eat your Ditko Spider-Man, as long as you didn't accidentally flood your entire art collection, as far as I can tell, like, it's not, people aren't too fussed about, the quote unquote condition of what you have, as long as it's, still up and standing, right? And yes, I've taken lengths to, I got some nice Profolios and I got some nice Mylar sleeves, and I kind of double protect them or whatever, and I put, I invested some money into having some nice portfolios to keep that collection in. And if I was going to, which I don't, but if I was gonna have some kind of museum and frame stuff, I'm sure I would spend proper money to do it correctly. But that's honestly, like, that's not anything I'm interested in. I kind of like the idea of being able to share stuff and maybe go to local meetups and bring a portfolio and just flip through it and hang out with people and see what they have and maybe share what I have. And if they happen to be into whatever I have, like that's great. And if not, it's no big deal, you know, like so.
Yeah, I mean, look at the meetups that I go to. Nobody gives a shit about my art. I put my portfolio there, and it's like, you know, nobody looks through it. Or I catch somebody opening it to see what's inside. They flip a couple of pages. They see, oh, it's all Tom Grummett art. Oh, they close it right away, you know. But I don't care. For me, I'm there to look at other people's art, right? So it's like,
I mean, I guess you got to find the right, you know, audience too, is what I always kind of say. Like, I mean, if it was me, I'd go, oh shit, Grummett art, because I love Grummett, right?
No.
Like, I mean, we've had that conversation before. Like, I dig his art the most. I mean, so it's like that's one of those things where, you know, I mean, you know, I remember being at meetups and somebody would thank me for looking at their portfolio because they knew no one else was looking at it. They did the thing that you know, whatever it was, like, I'm not going to out anybody, but they were like, oh, they saw it was X character, and everybody keeps moving on because it's not X-Men or you know, whatever the hotness is, you know. But it's like I think they got a kick out of it, that like me and my buddy who doesn't collect comic art, we just love comics, and we were just like, oh, look at that, that's so cool, and we flipped through it, and we had a good time. And it, you know, there's those aspects where I guess that adds the value to what you spend in this hobby, right? Like that people, you can share it with people, that they can you know, appreciate it, either maybe not as you do, but maybe, you know, kind of in a similar vein as you do, right?
Absolutely. Marcus feels like it'll never end for me until I start selling.
Well, that's true. You have to make peace with that shit. Like, if you're really going to do it, right? Like, because there's some stuff where you look at it and you're like, oh, I don't want to get rid of this, I don't want to get rid of that, and whatever. But the minute you start making that like mental decision where you're like, I can let go of this, I can let go of that, I can sell this and I can sell that, then it kind of almost becomes easier to be like, you know what, I can probably sell all of it and I'm gonna sleep okay. You know what I mean? And that's what it kind of turns into, which I sort of get what you say, because when you want to stop collecting, like I did that too in my great purges, because I would be like, look, I got to go all scorched earth. Like, if I'm gonna stop collecting comics, if I'm gonna stop collecting, you know, toys or whatever it is, then it's like I sort of have to get rid of what I have. Otherwise, there's always going to be that temptation, you know? Like,
the pull is still there, right? When you see this around you. Exactly. And I never really thought about that much before, but now that you mention it, I mean, that's probably the biggest reason why, on a subconscious level, I probably in the end always say, okay, I'm done collecting this, so why keep it? Might as well let other people enjoy it, right? It's that might be again, on a subconscious level, though. I think that's probably has something to do with it.
I guess it's like what you know. I mean, I think it depends on your point of view, right? But like, some people would say, if you're not, you know, I mean, I don't do this, so I don't know that it applies to me. But you know, some people would suggest, if you're not enjoying your art every day, if it's not framed up on your wall, you know, like then that means like you don't really love it as much, or you know, whatever, right? So that means somehow you could let go of it, right? Or, you know, for me, like, I think it applies to like, well, if I can't, I don't know, if I can't see the collectible or the toy or the comic or whatever it is, like then maybe it doesn't mean as much to me. Like, you know, I kind of have this joke with some of my buddies where I'm like, oh, like, did you bring what we're going to talk about tonight that means so much to you? And it's like, oh no, it's in storage. And I'm like, does it really mean that much to you if it's in storage? Like, so I sort of get that, right? Like, where it's like you can, you know, if it's something like that, where it's like out of sight, out of mind, like I think that in some ways, in my purges over the years, that usually helps me rationalize, you know, making that decision to clean house or not. Or sometimes, like, you rationalize it as like moving one into the other. You know, like, where you're like, you know, like these guys that sell all their slabs and then put it all into original art. Or maybe you sell all your original art, and maybe, I don't know, you get some cool beach house and you and Vivian go down to the, you know, that, like, whatever it is, right? Like, maybe that's how you end up rationalizing, like, look, I'm gonna maybe expunge this one thing, but I'm going to put it towards something better. I mean, even, maybe you buy a golf course. I don't know, like whatever it is, right? But I'm just saying, maybe those are the things, right, where it turns into something else, where it's a different chapter in your life.
That's a perfect segue for me, because this is the thing, and it kind of also ties into what Marcus is saying, right? Because then Marcus said, okay, until I start selling, and then it'll end. And then he said, but then he'll still have illustration. But here's the thing. Deep down inside me, and I've thought about this, over the last few years, as I've been thinking about stopping and when am I going to stop collecting comic art? I've thought about the fact that, hey, shit, I also have all this illustration, non-comics illustration. And I got to tell you, Marcus, the thoughts of, when I've ran through these plans in my head of, well, what should I do? What could I do? And I've thought about, when I stop, am I going to sell the comic art? And when I've thought of that scenario, that if let's say I did sell the comic art right after I stopped, I also have to admit that I told myself, well, if it comes to that, then at that point, I'll probably just sell off my illustration art too. Why not? Because at that point, and this ties into what you just said, Derek, it's the fact that at that point, okay, all the money that I would slowly accrue from selling off the collection slowly, all the art, comics and non-comics art, ultimately, like you just said, the money, first of all, I'd be happy because, okay, it was always my intention to not hopefully die with my collection here. Okay, I want to leave my family, I'd rather leave them cash or a more sort of easier to understand and liquid investment kind of thing, right? And so then I thought, well, if I sold everything off, shit, I could, if the building I live in, if it ever became available, I'd buy the entire building or whatever. I could buy, you have options with art, sort of liquidating collectibles and whatever. So that's another thing that does come into play for me. And part of me, this is the sickness of it all. Part of me then thinks, though, okay, now if I sell it all off, I start selling it off, right? It's such a sickness, this whole collecting, this need to accumulate shit. I'm also scared that even if I did stop collecting and I sold off, I start selling off the collection, I'm still also scared that I may find something else to collect.
I mean,
it's just not.
All I can say is, from my experience in life, that's what ends up happening. I mean, I've tried to get out of collecting. I mean, there were certain things at certain times that I think maybe I made the decision for the wrong reasons, but in most cases, it was always a decision that was of my own volition. See, yeah. So, but that's the thing, right? When you decide that and you say, okay, I'm going to get out, there's always going to be some influence. I mean, when I started my podcast, it was like vicariously living through other people's collections. I'd see photos of things and be like, oh, that's sweet, dude. Cool. And there'd be years where I couldn't quite participate in the toy discussion because guess what? I hadn't bought them in years. I was when I started that show, I was still trying to sell shit. I was, people make fun of me, but I still have stories of finally I got rid of all that fucking Phantom Menace shit. Finally, it's all gone now. Thank God. I put it all in a big box and fucking sent it all away. You know what I mean? It's all gone. Thank God. Whatever, right? There was stuff like that, right? And you so at some point you sort of you kind of cleaned house or whatever it is, but then like you said, there's other things you end up finding. I mean, if it wasn't comics and it wasn't toys, then it was like, oh, the statue looks really cool. And if it wasn't the statue, you're like, oh, hey, I'm gonna go get vintage posters and get them signed by artists. That was a rabbit hole I fell into, and people are like, oh, we need to have an intervention for Derek because of all the fucking posters he's bought or whatever, right? And it's just whatever, or got signed or whatever, right? But it's I see, and Karen likes the beach house idea.
Here, holy shit, I forgot about Karen. Hold on a second. And by the way, everybody, The 36 of you who are here, I don't know how many likes there are right now since Nick's not here to tell us. But if you haven't hit the thumbs up, I'd appreciate if you would do that. That would be very nice of you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I know, dude. I loved I finally got rid of the dancing Jar Jar Bank, Marcus. It finally went away. Like those many years ago.
Before I forget, because I didn't want to skip it, Hart says maybe I should stop doing unboxing videos. Well, the unboxing videos, they're not making me collect more. I'm just thinking, I always, since I started the channel, I always wanted to do just live streamed stuff, off the cuff, nothing scripted. But I understood, people were teaching me that, you'll get more views and, people will follow you more if you have like shorter content, short form content, 15 minutes or less. And so I just wanted to do it. So now I'm finally doing it for that reason, but also because I just feel like, okay, I still feel like I want to stop collecting soon. But in the meantime, while I'm still collecting, it just seemed like, that's a good idea to make short form content. Let people sort of partake in my joy as I open something that I just recently acquired. So I figured, why not? The unboxing thing is fun. I noticed that people over the last few years were doing it on other channels with comics and art and stuff. So I figured that's, why not? Let other people partake and see it at the same time.
I mean that's part of weaning yourself off of collecting, right? You watch videos of other people unboxing shit so that you don't have to spend the money and buy the art or buy the toy or buy the statue or whatever it is, right? Like that's part of our society now, is like people going, oh, the best way for me to get my endorphins is to not, or the most responsible way for me to get my endorphins is not to spend the money, but to go watch Ruben unbox some fucking art and then be oh yeah, look at that art, and then you're like, okay, that works. Like I didn't have to spend any money. I just watched a video. That's it.
Vicariously through other collectors, and that's it. Man.
Maybe they're the smart ones. I don't know.
That's it. But Hart, I would love it. And Caesar, look at that. Caesar's here. I would love it. Like, that would be fun. That would be so much fun. I would love it, Caesar. If you're listening, I don't know, you might be probably watching the football game. But if you're listening, Caesar, if you ever wanted to come on the show, given that you have between 20 and 25 packages that you still haven't opened, as you claim, come on the show with me one day and let's do them on camera. What the hell? Why not? Show us all, open up a bunch of them, a whole episode of you just opening up all your packages. That would be awesome. I would love to do that, Hart. And I'll do it with anybody who wants to open packages with me. Why not, man? That'd be fun.
I have a personal fear that if I ever did an unboxing video, it would be the most awkward shit ever. Like I'd cut my finger and I'd start cursing up a storm or whatever. It'd be like, why the fuck did you pack this way? And trying to tear stuff up, whatever.
Blood spurting everywhere.
Right. I mean, it doesn't happen in when you're by yourself, right? But the minute you go live, right? I'm always like, it's like the guys that do toy reviews and they break the toy in the middle of the review, right? It's not like that never happens, right? So I'm like, with my luck, I'd be that guy, right? I'd accidentally slash the art or something stupid, right?
That's what Marcus sort of taught me, that's kind of what people want. They want the potential that you may slice into yourself.
There's like a Schadenfreude, like they want it, like maybe then part of the endorphins is not just seeing like, oh, look at this great art. Part of the endorphins is like, oh, Ruben's gonna fuck up his art. This is so cool.
Right. He might destroy the art, or he might have blood squirting everywhere. That's why he was telling me, oh yeah, on the next unboxing though, train the camera down on the package. Let the people want to see you actually do the opening. And I'm like, oh really? Oh, does it matter? Like, he's like, yeah. He said something about blood squirting and shit. So,
and then that's got to be like super. The whole. You got your camera phone on top and it's connected to StreamYard, and then you get your camera on your face and it gets all complex and stuff. That's too much work.
Yeah. Marcus, you can have fun at the low price range, just buy lots of sketch covers. And that's the danger too. I could see myself stopping collecting, starting the process of selling off the collection, let other people have it, and then stupidly somehow, oh, okay, I guess I'll take some money and I'll still buy art, but I'll buy cheap stuff like little sketch covers and stuff. in the end, like you're still not really stopping what you're intending to stop. So it's like I said, it's like a real illness, you know, this need to keep accumulating stuff, you know.
Well, maybe those are both extremes, right? You're either what do they call it, like hoarding, right? Like you're not really
Yeah.
collecting anymore, right? You're just buying shit to buy it because you get the endorphin hit from buying something, right? So that's bad. But maybe the other extreme of, like, I mean, I get it, like I've been there before, where sometimes certain things you have to go cold turkey on, right? But
Yeah.
maybe that's the other extreme, right? Like maybe the word that people use a lot is curate, right? Like, so maybe that's the deal, like maybe you just need to curate some things and then be happy with whatever it is you have, like, and call it a day, right?
Oh, I preached that more than once on my channel about people, and even on Bill's channel when I did one of my appearances there on one of those shows, about people really need to, all of us, because I think we're all guilty. Those of us who are at least active, those of us who can afford to sort of collect, kind of like buy stuff, like, fairly regularly, semi-regularly at least, we're all at some point guilty of buying, looking, and oh, this is awesome. Oh yeah, cool. And 5 minutes later, you put it aside, or you put it into your portfolio, and then you're back online searching for the next piece, and you've forgotten about that piece, and you don't look at that piece for who knows how many months. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean that's the thing. Like, I think for me at least, like, I have a ritual. I don't just look at the fucking thing and put it in the portfolio and never look at it again. Like, for me, there's certain things I do, right? Like, whether it's sharing it with friends, and I repetitively do that, so it's not just a one-time thing. And then, like you're saying, you go to shows and share them off or whatever it is, right? And it doesn't. I mean, it's not about, I don't know, getting kudos for what you bought or whatever. It's just one of those things where
it is for some.
Okay.
That's why Carl brings that up, right? Because it is for some. It's sad, but you can tell if you observe certain collectors and their behaviors in the hobby and their actions, you can tell, holy shit, this guy's collecting because he's looking for praise from everybody else to tell him, attaboy, 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 and then they're out looking for the next piece to impress people with, it's crazy. But most people don't, thank God, right? Like, but
yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm just trying to be idealistic about the stuff, right? Like, not think about it in negative terms, right? And then Carl was talking about recycling hobby funds. I mean, to me, like, I think if I wasn't buying art, you're right, I probably would be collecting some other thing. But then, I think Marvel fan said something about he's worried about unloading his collection because he thinks he'll regret it. And the only thing I can do is share my own stories, right? When it's something that's not original art, when it's not one of a kind, sometimes unloading a collection, like, worked in my advantage, where I unloaded a lot of old childhood stuff. Well, guess what? Some of that stuff was incomplete. Some of that stuff was broken. Some of that stuff was not in the best of condition. And maybe you'd argue, oh, the beat up childhood one is the one you should cherish or whatever. But later I had opportunities to buy, like, the entire collection all in one shot, like everything I didn't get as a kid, plus everything I had as a kid. Do you know what I mean? And it was like, that was like almost a no-brainer. So it's like, I don't know, like, and again, like, obviously that doesn't apply to original art because it's a one-of-a-kind thing, but I don't know. Nothing's the end of the world, man. This is just stuff, dude. It's just stuff. Like it's fun, right? It's happy. It makes me feel good. I love talking about, Grummett art with Ruben. I love talking about, Maxima and Transformers and Superman and Marvel and DC and whatever it is. Like, I love all that stuff, but at the end of the day, it's just stuff. So I mean, if it gets that serious, like maybe as opposed to time for the market to cool off, maybe it's time for you to cool off, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Speaking of Grummett art and unboxings, for those of you who come in during the Sunday nights here and hang out with us, but don't know, maybe you don't know, I've been doing pre-recorded videos, 15 minutes or less, to unbox when I receive a new piece of art. Just wanted to put a link for my latest one that I received a few days back. Yes, a Tom Grummett piece. So I've spoiled kind of the surprise, but there you go. Watch that if you want. Number one Marvel fan. Yeah, like that's what I was just saying, right? That's exactly what I was just saying, man. Like, you've seen guys, they only buy to impress. And if they don't get the love, which, yeah, the Attaboys, as many Attaboys as they were hoping for, they sell it and they go and try to buy something else, hoping for the next Attaboy, back padding. And then ultimately some of them do get burned out and they stop altogether. Yeah, it's a crazy, crazy thing, but that's what happens, Nikki B, thank you very much, everybody. Let me
EXP me.
Let me EXP you. Yes, sir. And Nick, by the way, I had an easier time finding this week's the link for this coming Friday show. So that was the good news. And so everybody, please just remember to tune in on Friday nights to the EXP, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific. It is a combination art sales show / talk show. Lots of fun, funny stuff happening all the time, and some good entry-level art can be had, and occasionally some much higher end art. So a lot of fun there. And while I have that graphic up, let me, for those of you who may not know, who may be watching and may not know, be aware of Nick's show. Here's the link that's it'll take you directly to this coming Friday's episode. So be sure to bookmark it, or while you're there, subscribe so you don't forget, and click the notification bells in case you do forget. All right. And Marcus, what are you sending me? I love it when we're live. I'm like broadcasting live, and people start sending me things through email. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, interrupt the show and start reading email? Like, I don't get it, man. And I have been known to be able to handle that and still do it, but it's kind of distracting, I'll have you know. And so I'm not going to look at it right now, but because I know I was behind on the comments, very behind, but I didn't want to miss one. Hold on. So many guys. Okay, let's see. So LOL. No one in junior high was impressed by my comics, but it did put a target on my forehead, if you all know what I mean.
Well, and that's something that people today don't really have to deal with, I don't think, right? Like, I mean, there was always kind of a undercurrent of people looked down at you, or I don't know, made fun of you, or that kind of nonsense, right? Like, so I mean, at least now it's not, I don't know, it seems like at least today it's a little more socially acceptable than it was, right? So
yeah, for sure. Yeah, I get it. Number one Marvel fan, I get it. It happens, whatever, man. There's a lot of people like that, whatever, and they sell it off, and yeah, whatever, man. Thankfully, that's not the majority, but there's more than you would like that do that. I get it. I have the opposite problem. I can never sell my artwork with the exception of a few pieces, but at some, because you're attached, I get that. A lot of us can, understand that. At some point down the road, it's a decision that I will have to make. Best wishes is probably to, sell for the family. Well, yeah, and that's why it's always been on my mind, always. And it's a family thing for me, and it's also an issue I have with, me being in my 50s and not knowing how much longer I have to live, honestly. That's, that always has sort of, never been far from my mind, so now's the time to get in on the Beanie Babies. Are they making a comeback, Jason, though? Are they making a comeback? I hear Garcias are still potentially hot, and maybe the Princess Di purple one or whatever. But I think I'll keep my money in comic art for the time being. And the conundrum, man, it is very much so. It's hard. It really is.
You could do both. You could get like a Peach Momoko Beanie Baby commission, right? Like, you could do both.
I could start a new commission theme of Beanie Babies drawn by people like Momoko.
Why not? If you love them, why not?
That's funny. Archie would have to be my boy then. We'd probably have traded a few bucks. No, Jar Jar figures. Oh my God! I finally caught up to Karen's the comment.
She likes the beach house idea.
The beach house idea. That's my plan. Yeah. So I mean, but exactly right. So that's what I was saying. That's a big part of the reason for me is just knowing that it's all about my family and wanting them to be more liquid. And Vivian's always wanted to own a house. I never wanted to be an owner, and so we don't own. But I think about it like, gee, if I get out of this hobby in the next few years, that's a lot of money she can use. And if she wants it to finally, whatever, buy a home, I guess, whatever. We're kind of, to me, it's way too late in my life to be getting into buying a home, whatever. But you never know. The point is that when the way this stuff has gone up and the amount of money we've all put into it, it accumulates, especially over time. And man, a lot of us have a very valuable collections. Like, you know what I mean? Like it could mean, yeah, like you say, real estate. So yeah, so that's the thing. So David's worried that if he starts selling from his collection of comics, statues, art,
he'll have regrets.
Well, that's what most people who don't sell. That's what they regret, right? Or that's what they think. They worry about that. Am I going to have regrets, right?
Well, that's why I was saying. I mean, I did sell all my comics and I did sell pretty much all of my toys, but since they weren't one of a kind, I did buy some things back, and it's a little more curated now than it was then, but maybe I could stand to do some more curating, like I think we all can, right? So
yeah, absolutely. Hey Rich, thanks very much, not only for dropping in but for letting me know the 45 likes. That's awesome, man. Thank you. Karen's got the methods for what? CJ, I'm a little behind. The methods for getting yourself a beach house eventually. I don't know. David Barr, you will always have regrets. Just try your best to make educated decisions. Good advice, Gil. Canadian hot comic top 10. Not going to happen. That's weird, but I feel at times if I were to sell off my comics, I'll lose that part of my soul. A lot of people think that all my toys are statues. It's like stopping smoking, drinking, and you go on a diet. Now what? Well, like I said earlier, that's the thing too. Like I do want to do it, but like I said, I can also see myself doing it and then once again finding something else that, oh shit, maybe I'll still collect something else, but something cheaper, just to keep my hand in the collecting sphere kind of thing. It's an illness. It really is. So yeah. Oh, Caesar, you've been thinking about what? About opening all your packages or opening your packages with me together?
Calm down about the packages, all right?
Yeah, don't show your package, especially not on camera. But it's just like watching video games play through. You get the story of the game without actually having to invest the time for just. I
mean, I used to have to go over people's houses to do that. Back in my day, we didn't have YouTube videos. You had to go over to your neighbor's house and watch them play the game.
Who is unboxing Snuff?
I think that was a reference like a million years ago to when you were like cutting your hand when you were doing the unboxing.
Okay. It's just nice to be in my room full of everything. Yeah, man. We all get that. That's why we collect. We're collectors. We like to be surrounded with all that shit we love. We get it. We get it. You're not saying anything that we don't all understand. The room says package. I like smile like a 14-year-old boy. You would, Hart. You would. I should start saying parcel from now on. It's very nerve-wracking opening a package, especially one that is really taped up. I can't say. I can't say. I mean, do you tape up your package though?
Oh Jesus Christ! Stop! Just stop with the fucking package shit, please.
Recycling hobby funds is the way to go, right, Carl? That's why a lot of people do it, and I think the longer you're in the hobby, a lot more people start to do that. They'd rather like recycle the hobby funds rather than put in constantly new money. Who else has CAF, HA, and ComicLink pages open while on this live stream? It's an addiction. Well, not me, because I got to focus on speaking and listening, but a lot of people always do. That's it. That's exactly it. You're constantly multitasking within the hobby, trying to do one thing or another, Someone tried to buy the Liefeld cap for that reason. Exactly, Marcus. Someone will buy the cap art just to show it off and feel cool. Yeah, absolutely, because it's a talking point. What do you think about the new Transformer series, Derek? That's what Marcus wants to know. What do you think about it?
I mean, it's only the first issue. There's not much. It's not much. Well, I mean, you know what was cool was when I was driving up to Heroes Con because I picked up my buddy. Like that's when Void Rivals 1 did the stealth, you know, the Kirkman Skybound release or whatever. So that was fun. Like because we were kind of like excited to like, you know, we stopped at a comic store on the way there. We picked up Void Rivals and, you know, it was just, you know, hi, I'm Jetfire. And then Jetfire goes and fucks off. Like, so there wasn't much to it, but like, you know, Jetfire had a cameo in Void Rivals. That's why it was like a stealth release. Like, oh, we got the license to Transformers or whatever. And then, you know, the first issue came out. I mean, look, I don't know, hot take, quick take. The first issue seems like a lot of people who haven't watched and or read Transformers in like 40 years. It definitely seems like a cool thing for them to jump on board to. I think if you've been following the property for a long time, it's another take on the origin and, you know, them landing so far. I'm waiting to see where else it goes. So
there you go, Marcus. And what makes you think I had a Halloween costume? You actually think I go trick-or-treating or something? And I mean, even, you know, even Arwen will still goes to trick-or-treating, even though I think she's too old at 14. But I think we might have taken a picture of her, maybe not, but certainly I don't get dressed up. So no pics from Halloween, my friend. I'm sorry to disappoint you. Nick, I hope you're still there. You made a little bit of a typo, so I don't know what that means. The link was, what is your Facebook group? Are you trying to tell me the link that I put in for you didn't work? Because I'm really sorry. That's the one I copied from your video. If that's what you're trying to tell me, I don't know if that's what you're trying to tell me, man. Sorry. Please correct me if you're still listening, okay? And I don't know what the link has to do with the Facebook group. Sorry. Really apologize about that. Oh, yeah. I saw that one. As much as you're debating the virtues and vices of a collection, Derek, your Maxima collection is super cool and impressive. I love that weekly feature.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Wow, John C. came in. Wow, John, my fellow Canuck, why do you never attend my shows, man? How come you never show up here? Wow. My family will have to pry my art from my cold dead hands. Hey, man, there's plenty of people that also admit they're going to collect until they die. They don't have any plans to stop. It's just keep collecting, and then somebody else will worry about it. So you're not alone there, my friend. Thank you for coming in, by the way. Thanks for dropping by. The old Beanie Babies are still worth a lot. I'm sure there's just a few exceptions, though, you know. Pong's Beach House with bare walls. Ruben the Landlord.
Maybe the next big thing is going to be graded. They probably already have those, right? Graded Beanie Babies. Do they have graded Beanie Babies?
I would think that they would put them in some kind of a plastic container, right? Like almost everything.
But I mean, you have to send them somewhere and get them like 9.0s or whatever.
It wouldn't surprise me. I can't vouch for it, you know. But yeah, nothing surprises me with collectibles anymore, especially with the whole condition thing, you know. Beach houses have higher humidity, bad for art. Very true. Very true.
But if you sold all the art to buy the beach house, it's irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah, but Maki Pupu, we don't have time to get into it, but we live in an area where there's a massive, massive disparity between the price that you pay for rent, right? Or what you can charge for rent versus the price of the actual real estate, the building that you want to buy. It's so much more expensive to buy. So believe me, it's not as cut and dry as you think it is, that it's always better to buy than to pay rent and never own anything. It's not true. If you actually take an hour or two to crunch all the numbers, It depends on many, many factors. Everybody has different factors, but it's not always true that buying is the best thing. So just FYI. I recently started downsizing, says Rich, some of my toy collection that sits in a storage unit and collects dust. There you go. What better reason to downsize than when it's sitting in a storage unit. You're not getting any enjoyment out of it. It's collecting dust. Exactly. Get rid of it, right? Get rid of it. Let somebody else enjoy it. Plus it brings cash flow in for you. So, boy, Marcus is really, adamant about not going to hang out at the beach
he's
house.
Down on the beach houses.
Yeah, he's not into the beach house idea too much. You were definitely not right, Vivian, but thanks for popping in and saying that. And Michael can laugh all he wants, and you guys can have your own little thing together. Okay. Beach houses attract the pretty people, makes you an elitist. Elitist. Yeah, exactly. Stick to parcel. Well, I'm not the only one you're saying package. I mean, what do you want me to tell you? Good night, honey. You left it. I'm 6 minutes behind. Good night. Have a good night. Have a good sleep. Good night. I'm finally starting to catch up quickly. Good night. What else we got here? I guess Nick might not. I mean, I haven't seen. Sorry, missed it. Let me see. Definitely jumping on. What's a jumping on point? Sorry, I came.
He's talking about Transformers.
Oh, right.
He's saying definitely it's a jumping on point for people that if they've never checked out Transformers. Period.
Oh. Okay. No. Okay. So you meant you've been planning on posting. Auction pages being open. Okay. You're posting a piece. I see. Okay. So you missed it. All good. Was going to mention that the link went to the old. It did. But decided you were doing me a favor, so should shut up. No. You should always correct me. But I went to the page that it clearly said, going live in 5 days, and that's the URL I copied. I'm really sorry, everybody, but just do a YouTube search for the original art experience. You'll find it. I'm sorry, Nick, but yeah, I don't know what I literally took it from this coming Friday's show. But you know what, Nick? Let me tell you something else. I'm not shocked. Now that you mentioned, I'm not totally shocked that some weird thing happened with that, because earlier today, when I was grabbing the URL for Karen's video short that I put at the beginning of the show, I did that. I put it here into the software, and then I went to my video for my unboxing, right, to copy and paste that link. And I noticed that the link was the same. The URL showing was the same as it was for Karen's video. So I don't know if you have to refresh the page for the URL to finally change. I don't know what's going on, but maybe that's what happened. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not that much of a techie, so I apologize, everybody. But everybody, 99% of the people here know your show anyway. So the youtube.com/theexp, everybody. There you go. Plus, it's nice to have a home somewhere that is yours and not living on top or next to you. I'm good, man. I just love the orientation of where we live. I look outside. We're facing the west, so the sun is for most of the day, I get the sun. So it's the first time in my life, the first building we've lived in, where a lot of light comes in. So that's great. Also, there's a park right outside. So I have a huge open space right outside my window that lets more light in. And it's nice to be able to go out to the park. So if I was to buy anything, it would only be because the landlord was going to decide to sell. And just as a defensive move to protect ourselves from being kicked out by some other owner, then I would consider buying the building. But otherwise, no. I'm good. But let me see. Now that I'm catching up, they grade. Oh, I was going to say they grade for Beanie Babies. They grade the tags that are attached. Yeah, because the tag matters.
Okay.
Tag matters, It's so silly. It's a private group. I can send you an invite. Okay, it's private. No problem, Nick. Graded vinyl records, the next big thing. I'm sure. I mean, music is worldwide, right? So music, video games, Toys are graded now. Yeah, that's right. I'm sure Beanie Babies. I wouldn't be surprised. Insurance here for beach houses is crazy high and to many because of hurricanes. Vivian would sleep better in a beach house. She ain't getting her beach house. Like you guys need to quit that. Beach house in Canada isn't what we think of as beach houses. Exactly. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you. So yeah. For us to get a beach house, anyways, we'd be going to the States to get a beach house. I mean, you can get them here, but you're not really at a beach, so it's kind of pointless. Nothing to be sorry about. You're doing me a solid. I appreciate it, Nick. Nova Scotia. Ugh, yeah. Good night, Jason. Sorry I missed you 2 minutes ago. I'm almost caught up. Thank you very much. Would appreciate it as always. Thank you. Have a good week. Sadly, I've seen too many beach houses destroyed. Why is everybody so obsessed with flooding in my area of Long Island near the shore, especially back during Hurricane Sandy? Yeah, I remember that. So no beach house in my future. Yeah, no, absolutely. Night, CJ. Good night, Jason. Night, Karen. Let me get a lighthouse. That's when, like, if I outlive my entire family, then I'd be the old curmudgeonly guy who's just nothing left to live for. Let me buy myself a lighthouse and just live upstairs in that lighthouse and do nothing. I don't know. Better buy a home here in the States and to rent. Like I said, it's all about location. The disparity between renting and buying, it's too huge here. It's not, to me, it's not worth buying compared to what you can live for by just renting. So, Paulie P, whoa, I've been under the weather tonight. Oh, sorry to hear that, man. Been lying in bed and listening almost the whole show. Wow. Thank you. Really enjoying it. Your discussions are interesting and strangely comforting.
Thank you, Paul.
Thank you, Paul. Thank you. Yeah, feel better soon, man. Let me see. And actually feeling better. Chat therapy. Excellent. I dropped out for an hour. What did I miss besides beach houses? You better rewind it. Yeah, exactly.
Beach houses and I don't know, whatever that cover thing.
The community loves you, Paul. Many a time, Ruben's voice has put me to sleep. Thank you. I'm glad. I always say I'm very quiet. I have such a soft-spoken voice, so I'm not surprised that I lull you to sleep. Michael McKay, look at all these people who haven't been by in a while. Wow, just saying hello for a minute while I ate dinner at my desk at work. Wow, 10 p.m. Well, 10 p.m. here. Where are you again, Michael?
He's on the East Coast.
Oh, you are an East Coaster. Yeah. Wow. That's what happens with attorneys, though, right? You're always working way more than you want to be working. So, but thanks for dropping in and saying hello, man. It's been a while, so love having you here. Sprinkle it around your place. Thank you. Yes, better than buying a beach house for me. That's for sure, John. I would like to renovate a warehouse or Gothic church into a house to hold my collection. What? Okay, that's interesting. My voice is comforting. Thank you, Paul. At least I got one fan, Ruben needs a mountain lodge with high-class communications gear involved. Nah, man. That's right. Yeah, New York. That's right. You're in New York State, man. Yeah. Working late, burning the midnight oil, as they say, or at least the 10:03 p.m. oil. You know what, Derek? Give me a second and let me see what the hell Marcus was trying to get my attention with earlier.
I give 2 seconds for you and your valiant crew.
Okay. I see. Okay, well, I don't want to take the time to have to download and save this and then upload it.
Oh, you want to see what Marcus sent you?
Yeah, that's what I was doing. So
something about beach houses, possibly.
Oh gosh. Okay, hold on. No. It's a picture of that's hilarious. I guess because I haven't seen I didn't see next Friday's show yet. So it's a picture of I don't know who it is really. I guess maybe it's Nick, but with a really badly photoshopped face, Nick's head photoshopped onto it in a Dracula costume.
I remember that.
Okay, so Marcus, when you want me to show that kind of stuff, you really should send it to me before the show goes live so I can, have time to prep this kind of stuff, So yeah, that'd be much, much easier. Sorry. So here we go. So see, Brian's a little bit of I won't say it. Brian's a good guy. He wrote a beach house song. New music group, Beach House Boys. Nice. Marcus sending fish head videos. Oh God! By the way, that fish head shit from last week, that was insane. Everybody should know who was here last week. Jeff ended up emailing me the link to the video on YouTube for fish head. Like, what a crazy. Yeah, I just bizarre shit. Yeah, so I can't recommend it myself personally, but you California area guys, I guess I can kind of understand how it might have been a thing for you on local public access television or something. Yeah. Still occasionally looking at that Liefeld cap and chuckling. But are you going to bid on it, Paul? That's what we want to know. Just show it the next time you promote the EXP.
I mean,
okay.
If people are going to buy it to have talking or bragging points, then I guess they'll make a brag bid to do it, right? Too, right? I don't know.
Yeah, See, the thing is, it would be fun if the winner ends up being somebody we know. Then it's more fun, right?
Yeah,
but it just seems like I said earlier, it seems like almost everything, especially more expensive stuff, it gets swallowed up from auction, and then you never see it again. Most of it just disappears. So you probably won't see it. Which is a shame. But yeah, who knows? Fish heads, roly-poly fish heads. Exactly. It was stuck in my head, by the way. It ended up being like an earworm. It was stuck in my head all day long. The day that Jeff sent me the link to the video, TJ. So I don't want to get that into my head again. Not for you. That video still gives me the creeps. Good. It should. Yeah. Yeah, Derek. So anything else happening lately? With you in the collecting sphere,
I'm just, I'm mainly just keeping my eye out for stuff, I guess. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's an addiction. Like I have want lists and keyword searches, and occasionally look around for shit or whatever. And, sometimes people reach out to me and whatever. So yeah, sometimes stuff like that goes down.
Okay. So I want to ask you about that. That's kind of interesting, because as I mentioned, for those of you who didn't see my unboxing video that I linked to earlier, I mentioned the story of how I came into that piece, and I love the story, so that makes me love the piece even more. Mm-hmm. And for those of you who didn't watch it, I'll ruin it for you, just in the sense of saying, thank you, Karen. No worries. Have a good night. I just wanted to say that in all the time I've been in the hobby, and I mentioned this in that unboxing video, it's been so rare that anybody ever reaches out to me to say, hey, I know you collect this kind of stuff, or, would you be interested in this? I honestly think, and it's not like I kept track, but to the best of my recollection, I believe I'm not exaggerating. I think it's pretty accurate that at most it's happened maybe a handful of times that somebody reached out to me privately and said, hey, yeah, man, would you be interested in this? Definitely less than 2 handfuls, without question. So even if it is a handful or more, okay, 5, 6, 7 times, Miki, apparently not here tonight, but he's here every now and then. And he, earlier this year, again, with the whole Grummett Floodgates opening this year, not only at auction, but even privately on 2 occasions this year, not only that I acquire more Grummett art, not just at auction, but privately, but I just thought it was cool that, oh, wow, in one calendar year, 2 people reached out and asked me if I wanted to buy art from them. because like I said, it's been so rare for me, you know. So does that happen more like fairly frequently with you?
I don't know. I feel like you got to give some to get some, you know, like
But in what
you know.
way? In what way? In what way?
Well, I mean, if you know, it's kind of like, I mean, if you know I like Maxima, like people have said, reached
Yeah.
out to me and go, oh, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? Whatever, like that kind of thing. But you know, maybe the giving some then becomes like, oh, well, you know, Ruben reached out to me, like, you know, I might send you a email and go, hey, did you see this Grummett piece? Because I'm not sure if it was on your radar or not, but you know, and you might tell me, oh, that's, you know, that's not my wheelhouse, or you might tell me, oh, thanks, dude, like I didn't see that, you know. So it's like, I don't know. I mean, you know, you know, a lot of times maybe it's just going through the motions or whatever. Like maybe a lot of those are not always going to be right in somebody's wheelhouse. But you know, if you, I don't know, sometimes my keyword searches coincide with other people's interests, and sometimes when I come across something and I think of them, you know, it's like, I guess it just depends, right? Like, you know, if I think of somebody and just, you know, shoot them a link and just be like, hey, did you see this, dude? Because this looks like it's like totally you, right? Like, and you know, sometimes, you know, it might work out that way, and sometimes you receive that in return, right? Like, I remember I didn't get it because I was at a show, but I was at a show, but like I think when there was some painted card art, you know, that was you know, Superman and Maxima that dropped on calf or something,
Oh yeah.
and like maybe like 5 people were like, hey dude, did you see that shit, you know, whatever. And like, you know, it was like, unfortunately, like I was at like an actual comic show like that
Yeah.
weekend or whatever, so by the time I saw it, I was like eating lunch and trying to connect to the Wi-Fi in a Chili's or something, and you know, I guess I was like the fourth person to ask about it or whatever, so I was like, ah, whatever. But you know, anyway, but the point of that story is, it doesn't matter whether I got the art or not. The point is, a lot of people were nice enough to be like, hey dude, like go get it, you know, like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Just for you, Caesar, and because you asked, I didn't see the video. What was it? If you're talking about the unboxing, is that?
no, he's talking about the fish heads, right?
Oh, the fish heads. Oh, is that what you
Right.
see? Let us know, just so you might as well know, just in case. In case you're talking about the unboxing thing, oh, here's the link to that. But if it's the fish heads, Jeff sent me the link to that crazy song privately, so it's not like we ever had the link to that here on the show, you know. And is it true, Miki? By the way, hey, Miki lurking. Miki, is it true that it's your birthday today? Because I would swear that every year I wish you the happy birthday through Facebook, don't I? And I don't remember getting. Is it your birthday? Tell us if it's your birthday, Miki. Because that's what Rich Cirillo is saying. Oh, and Caesar, the unboxing. Okay. So there you go. That's the link I just put in. So go to that and check that out. And it's you might, I mean, it's not DC, but it's Grummett, so you'll appreciate it just for the Grummett, I hope. Hey, happy birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. Wow. That is awesome. I'm not going to ask you how old you are, because I remember freaking out when you told me how old you were. I based on when that was a few years back, I can just do the math, but you look way younger than you are. Let's just say that you're still looking good. Comic art keeps you young for sure. That's for damn sure. So yeah, man, happy birthday.
One of its hidden properties.
Say again?
One of comic art's hidden properties. Retain your youth and beauty when you buy comics.
Yeah, exactly. I hope it works for all of us, you know. And the Rickster wishes you happy birthday too. That's awesome. Yeah, you're very welcome. You're very welcome. But yeah, you know, Miki was one of those guys, and he I guess he was looking to sell this piece, and it was this a Grummett Superman page from the Electric blue era.
Oh, nice.
And I love that costume. It's not my
Yeah.
favorite Superman.
No, but it's a nice costume.
I love the costume, so I love those pages anyways, and it was a splash page of him fighting with the cyborg Superman,
which you also have an interest in.
I adore. Yeah, I adore. And I was like, wow, that's just so cool, And let me tell you, what? Let me tell everybody, because everybody should hear this. Let me also tell you something about some of the people in this hobby, like Miki, right? Not only did he reach out to me, and he's one of the few guys who have done that over the years, reach out to me to offer me a piece of art. Now, he didn't have a price. He didn't have a price on it. And, like most of us, I hate that, right? And he said, but he just said, he wasn't like most people, trying to like fish me for some crazy price. He just said, he's not usually a seller, right? So Mickey's not a seller, so I get it. For him, it's he doesn't have like prices on the brain all the time for everything. So I guess I must have said like, yeah, okay, so how much? Of course I'm interested, but how much would it be? And he says, well, why don't you just tell me what you think it's worth? And so I proceeded to think about it for a while. And then I do what I usually do in that same exact instance, which is I want the person to know. I never just give a price. And maybe I should, but I want the person to know what my thought process is.
Your logic of how you came up with that number.
Right. Because at least this way, if you, in case you see the number and you think it's like I'm trying to rip you off or whatever.
Right. No. You're saying this is. I researched this. I looked up this market data. I went to Heritage. I this is what this sold for. This year.
Exactly. Right? Exactly. And so that's what I did. I give him, like 2 paragraphs worth of my thought process behind it, and I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. So it was like at the time I was like, oh, okay, whatever. So based on this and based on what this one just sold for or that one, like I could see maybe around $1,200 for this because it's not the real Superman and it's the electric super, whatever. And I said, and maybe as low as 1,000, but up to 1,200, something like that. And good guy that he is, he tells me, all right, just I see Marcus's comment.
But it's blue Superman.
But Miki, it's blue Superman. Well, I'm not gonna lie, Marcus, as I'm giving my logic to him, not to try to get him.
I mean, cheap. Electric blue Superman is still the real Superman, Ruben. Like he's not the real Superman.
Yeah, whatever. But we know there's more value on the red, white, and blue, or red, yellow, and blue. So anyway,
fair enough.
But and the nice guy that Miki is, well, I figured. Well, I don't know what I figured, but I kind of expected he might say, "Oh, I think it's worth a little more," and maybe come in at like, I don't know, somewhere between 12 and 15 or something like that, But instead, he just said, all right, just give me 10.25 and we got a deal. And 25 was for the shipping. And so basically, he went with...
He cut you a break.
Yeah, he went with the low end of my, admittedly, it's only a 20%, margin that I had there. But he went with the low one. He could have told me 100 or whatever. That's awesome, man. Thank you, Miki. That's like awesome.
I mean, he could have met you in the middle at 11.50, right? So, I mean, you should be grateful.
Yeah, I was absolutely grateful. Yeah. So, that's he should have asked for $50 more. Isn't that what Berkeley does? I'm doing dealers, or 25 more. But that's what's amazing. And again, when things like that happen, then it makes me really appreciate the art even more. I remember the story that came with it or whatever, and how it came to be. So, but yeah, no, it's been very, very rare for me. But like I said, I got that piece from him this year, and then man, I got a new Titans cover by Grummett.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
I actually got this year. I actually have gotten, I think, 3 of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I have 3 of them. I still have one coming. One is still left to come to, so I can.
In transit.
I'll not yet, but soon. Because I have most of my stuff shipped to a friend, in the States, and then they, on occasion, I'll say, okay, ship me another package or whatever, or,
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so you saw the one with the Perez inks.
Yeah.
And
That first one, yeah.
that's the biggie one, whatever.
Yeah.
But I got actually I've got I got two other ones. One I've already unboxed. I mean, not on camera. But I haven't posted it. But it's you've seen it probably because it was it's the last. Oh yeah, I've shown it to you. It's the last issue of the Titans Hunt story.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Rad.
But then I ended up getting number 90 as well at Heritage or whatever.
Nice.
Yeah. So, but I'll do an unboxing video for that one. But
yeah, I think I have enough if I post once a week to make it to the end of the year. But then I think I'm out. I'm out after that. So
oh, really?
I'll be back hunting like everybody else, right? So.
Yeah, hunting like exactly. That is not Canadian. Definitely not. That'd be too cheap for sure. But yeah, no, and that's the thing. So happy to get Grummett art that I'm always looking for. I haven't had covers from Titans in years, so I got that. It's been a good year. But like I said, I feel guilty because it's all coming in the year that I'm like 53, in a year where I'm like already. Again, for the last few years, thinking like I got to be stopping. I don't want to be collecting anymore. I want to be stopping. So it all comes too late in the sense that this is all the stuff I wish I had already owned for 10 years. I could have already owned it for everything I wanted for like a decade, and then when I hit my 50s, I don't feel so bad. Okay, it'll be easier for me to like stop collecting and start selling it off because I'd already gotten my enjoyment out of it. But yeah, you can't, obviously, we can't, we all wish we could get everything we want in the hobby when we want it, obviously, so, I don't,
I mean, I think you'll know whenever that is that but I mean, I don't know, dude, like, I don't know. Again, I just think this stuff is fun. It's like, I like, some of it is just the ritual of hunting and looking and all that stuff. Like, I mean, even if you don't nab the piece, like some of that, I mean, I don't know, it can be fun in and of itself, I suppose, right? Like, I mean, I like, kind of staking things out and figuring stuff out, and sometimes I let things go because I'm like, this doesn't make sense to me. But sometimes, like you said, you have an opportunity to get something and you're like, this looks really good, I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. There's nothing wrong with that, right? Like, I mean, as long as it's fun and as long as you're being responsible, right? Like, that's all.
Oh, sure. And I always have been. It's just that in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I know more or less, I got a good idea of the value tied up. Like it used to be that most, like a lot of my net worth was in the stock market, and then slowly but surely over the years, more of it shifted out into the art market, into my collecting, and it's like, holy crap. So I started thinking like, man, I got so much money tied up in fairly illiquid. I mean, it's liquid, but in the sense that it's not liquid when you want to get out of it completely quickly, Yeah. Then it's illiquid, right? In that sense. So it just makes me nervous because it's a lot of money, and it will take a long time to sort of get out of all of it if I want to sell it all off. And that's the thing. So that's what it just makes me nervous. The fact that you can't sell it quickly. If it was easy to get rid of like you do with stocks in the stock market, I probably wouldn't worry. I think that's the key. Now that I talk about it, I think that's the key. You're hitting a few buttons, hitting a few sell, putting a few sell orders. Even if you have large positions in the stock market, you can still sell it off throughout the day. Or, if it's a kind of a slow market in whatever stock you've got, if it's a smaller stock, slightly less liquid, okay, sell it off over a few days. But an extensive comic art collection, like, it'll take, in order to maximize your value,
right,
it'll take a few years to sell it slowly but surely or whatever, So,
Well, and then and I suppose the other concern is, eggs in one basket type thing, not just
Yeah,
comic art, but like
right.
you don't want 500 billion Grummett pieces dropping all at the same time, right? Like you want to spread that out a little bit, right? So yeah.
Yeah. Rick, man, I hear you with the, you don't have to quit cold turkey and sell it all just in the herd. I get it, but I it's just hard to explain. But it's like I love it all, and therefore I just feel like I've always kind of been that way. I feel like I can't choose between them. So if I'm going to sell, I'll just sell it all. This way, I don't feel later. I won't have any regrets about, I should have kept that one. Why did I keep this one? I figure sell it all, and that way it'll all be gone. I'll be happy to have other people enjoying it, and I can live, with a clear conscience after that. So I don't know, but like I said, I
Well,
struggle.
at this point, the only things I'm trying to sell are, maybe some of my old collectibles here or there that I just don't have any interest in anymore. But for art, I'm buying it. So if you got some Maxima art and it's not ridiculously priced, let me know.
Who is the cruel mistress? The collecting bug that sort of grabs us and pulls us all in, Marcus. But yeah, it's tough, man. I again, like I said, I've always kind of struggled. I've always struggled. On the one hand, there's this. On the other hand, there's that. There's all these different factors that kick in. And like I said, it has gotten more difficult for me as I did get older. Like I said, I always knew when I was before I even met Vivian, okay? And I was in my late 20s when I met her. Before I even met her, I always knew in my head, I always knew one day when I eventually find whoever it is that I get married to, the day will come when I'm going to have to get out of whatever my collection is, whatever I have in collectibles. I always knew that I'll get older and I will want to sell it off rather than die with it still around and leave it for my family to take care of. You know what I mean? It's always been my goal. And so that's also what makes it difficult, because in my late 20s and into my 30s, I was like, oh, okay, an arbitrary number. I guess maybe I'll get out of this when I hit my 50s. When I hit 50, maybe that's the time. Very arbitrary, of course. Then you hit 50 and all of a sudden you're like, well, I don't know. I'm still having fun. I still feel pretty healthy. Like I'm okay. You know what I mean? Like it's tough, right?
Yeah. I don't know. These sound like Peter Parker problems. Like do I want Mary Jane? Do I want Gwen Stacy?
Yeah.
Me.
Exactly.
I got such hard luck. Like
exactly.
It could be worse, right?
Yeah. It's like I've said in the past. It's really, we have first world problems, right? Like
It's not. Like what you were saying before. Take some time to enjoy the victory, right? Bask in the glory, right? You got all these cool new Titans covers and Superboy covers and stuff. Like enjoy it, like right? I mean, a lot of them. There's some great stuff. It's not anything that's garbage. It's cool stuff. It's fun stuff. It's an artist that you clearly have a great passion for, and a lot of other people do. A lot of other people would kill to be in your shoes, right? So you know what I mean? So it's like that for sure, right? It's like that's I mean, it's fun.
Yeah. Listen, and I've said this before. You think about it, like you try to give a parallel. I mean, it's like, in terms of how lucky and fortunate we all are to be able to collect this stuff, right? Some of us more than others, financially, whatever, right? And then I often think about, hey, I remind myself to sort of keep an even keel about it. And I remind myself, think about how much money this stuff costs. Like, we get so used to the money that we pay for this stuff that I could see how it could be really easy to forget this, right? But think about, like, in terms of the average family, let's say, I don't know, a couple with a couple of kids, for instance, and they're paying a mortgage and all that. You think about it, like, oftentimes the average family is going to be like, wow, you want to go out to eat, but oh man, but we went out last week already. It's like, whoa, it's like $100 and whatever just to eat out now, and here with us in our hobby, like a ridiculously cheap modern page with like some talking heads from a current comic might be $100, let's say, from a no name kind of artist. And you think, we consider that low end, that's low end crap. But there's people who, like, for them that's like, what? This ink drawing of some kind of a
Well, you
$100? Like, it's like a fortune.
you should always stay connected to those people. Like, you should never forget that shit. You should never get so hung up in this hobby to realize that some of the money you spend on it is fucking insane. Like, you shouldn't ever forget that. You should always think about that before you buy anything. I don't know. Maybe that's just me, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you've forgotten that,
yeah,
I don't know. That's a little weird.
Yeah, no, but think about it though, Derek. Think about it. Like, I'm sure you could understand how it could be easy to forget when, if you're the type of art collector who, I mean, listen, even yourself, you can buy a $2,000 page here and there, and a multi-$100 page here, and right, and like that's compared to the average sort of family or whatever, like that doesn't do that. They would look at you and think, holy shit, you're rich. Are you rich or something? Wow, how can you do that? Like,
Well, but that may or may not be part of the allure, but that also is like, I don't have a wife and kids.
No,
like
I said, everybody's
like I'm just like, yeah, I'm just saying everybody's situation is unique and different, and I think that that's and everybody goes after things according to their means. Like, but I mean, I just think in terms of like like anybody should be able to look at I don't know, heritage prices and be like, wow, that's a lot of money. Like, to me, that's my joke, right? Like, it's like that's my secret, Cap. I'm always angry. Like, that's my secret. Everything costs too much money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It all does. Like, okay, fine, but this is the hobby. This is kind of what I'm into. I mean, I kind of tend to, I don't forget that, but I tend not to think about it or dwell on it too much, right?
Yeah,
like
maybe that's close.
It's like I've made my I've made my peace with it. Like, I get what kind of hobby it is, right? And you can buy the shit pieces for whatever, for $100 too. And it's like, if it means a lot to you, who gives a fucking shit if some other guy thinks it's a shit piece? If it means something to you, then great.
Yeah.
And and I'm not gonna lie, like, yeah, you're right. There's times where you're sitting there going, I don't know. I tend to think of it as making angry bids, but like sometimes I'm sitting there going like, "Fuck you, Mr. Internet Bidder," or "Fuck you, Mr. Live Bidder," and you're in the middle of the heat of the moment or whatever. But I mean, so I'm not gonna lie about that either. But it's like Marcus says, it's always been expensive. I mean, it's all relative, right? Like, I mean, the prices that people were paying that people look back on and think of as dream prices were the same. The $25 in pencil that was on the back of that page where you go, oh my God, I'd love to pay $25. Well, that $25 was the same $100 meal you were just talking about, that people would say, are you crazy? You paid $25 for a piece of paper? Like, it doesn't matter, right? Like,
oh yeah, sure. I mean, it's like it's all perspective, right? I think when I first bought my very, very first piece, summer of '91, and it was a Paramount Iron Fist cover, number 124, for anybody who cares. It cost me $60, right? And then, like, what is it, 6 or 7 years later, I sold it on eBay because I was like curious, like, oh, look at this eBay thing. Oh, maybe I can finally get rid of this memento that I purchased, I wonder if I could get my $60 back, and I ended up getting like $366 back, and I was just like, what the hell? Wow. Right. And then that's kind of how I started. And I took some of that money and I bid on a couple of panel pages, One of them cost me $75, and I was like, damn, $75. The one I sold was only a few years back, cost me $60, and it's a cover. This is only an interior story page, and it's $75. Like, right? Relatively speaking, I was like,
yeah.
In that time, in my 20s, I'm like, this is expensive shit, this hobby, you know?
Yeah.
So,
it's all Power Man and Iron Fist's fault, is what I got out of that story.
Right. Blame it on them. So I don't look at it as an investment, as I always get so much enjoyment out of it. Of course, I get that. I get no enjoyment from a mutual fund. I get that. Absolutely. I totally get that, Miki, and I'm with you. I'm with you there for sure. And I'm not saying that I look at it as an investment. I never bought thinking of it as, oh, this will be a good investment. Not, you know what I mean? This stuff happens to be a de facto investment, right? It may not be our intent, but it happens to be one anyways. We go out, we spend our money, we have fun with our hobby. In most cases, it tends to pay us back a dividend, a really fat dividend in the end, you know? So we're fortunate in that sense. Michael says that I told my wife when we started dating in our late teens, wow, high school sweethearts, or maybe college sweethearts, that she'd have to put up with my collecting if we were to have a future together. Listen, I know you're saying it kind of as a half joke, and you probably did say it, but you're probably wanting to put a little bit of a ha-ha joke into that. Let me tell you, I've said this before. I didn't straight out say that. I didn't have to say that to Vivian, but I can tell you without a shred of doubt that had she been the kind of person that would have, when we started seeing each other, that like she looked at my collecting and frowned on it for any reason, and I saw her putting some kind of a negative, outlook, she would have been gone. I mean, as simple as that. Like, to me, it was always understood that anybody I'm going to have a relationship long term with, they need to understand, like, this is me. This is a part of me. I'm a collector. If you don't like it, you're gone. My collection stays. You're gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, it's like the memes where the guy's driving with the girlfriend in the car, and I don't know, she says something about, I don't know, whatever it is, comics or Star Trek or whatever, and then he's driving off by himself and she's on the side of the road. I mean, right. That's yeah. I mean, I get it. I mean, I guess everybody's got to come to that decision on their own. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice when you have somebody, whether it's a spouse or a family member or whoever, that's actually like, at bare minimum, doesn't look down on the hobby, but best case scenario is supportive of it, right? Like, so
yeah, absolutely.
They know what makes you happy, and they're like, go do what makes you happy. And if you have somebody like that, cherish them as much as you cherish the art, right? Like, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, because if you, man, and listen, people have done it. There have been collectors who, oh, now I've met this girl. Oh, she's awesome, but she fucking hates my money spending on. Oh fuck! So I either have to, some of them collect in secret, which is crazy, and others decide to. Well, I haven't had a girlfriend in a while, so okay, I'd rather have the girl. I guess I'll quit for her. Well, she's worth quitting for, or whatever. But then those people kind of regret after, because it's a part of them. It's who they are, right? Collecting is who you are for most of us. So, yeah, that's why it's like if you decide to stay with your partner, and they show you right at the beginning that they're not into it, your money spending, what you're getting yourself into if you decide to stay with the person, right? So you know what's going to happen if you do. So that's sad. I feel bad for those people, Yeah, it has always been expensive. So John says your art should only be mad money. Well, I don't know about mad money, but yeah, you don't want to put your family living under a bridge in a cardboard box, as I often say, for sure. So
I think he's just talking about the angry bids. He said the should all be angry bids, right? Like,
yeah. And it takes money to make money. It certainly does. Have a good night, Paul. Have a good night. Missed you 5 minutes ago. Sorry, but have a good night. And the prenup said it all. You must bake cake every week after round 8. collecting part of your personality. That's right. It is part of you. That's what I'm saying. So if a significant other doesn't like it, they don't like your personality, that relationship won't work. That's right. Yeah, exactly.
That's enough wisdom, right?
Way to say it, Mike. But did Vivian figure your collection would end up with you mean end up being able to buy a beach house? Who knows? Honestly, who the hell knows? You know, she trusts me. She knows, you know, this is who I am. So it's not about, and she knows we're both very frugal. Otherwise, like, it's not like we spend money stupidly on shit that doesn't hold its value. Like, I don't buy anything that doesn't hold value. In fact, I can honestly say I don't really buy anything other than comic art. Yeah, I don't even like to waste money on clothes. I mean, I buy T-shirts, and you know, you need underwear here and there, obviously. But yeah, we don't spend money, and so yeah, we're careful with our money. We always have been, and so that's it. You know, over time, your collection grows in value. Hey, good for you. You always know that in the end, the money's going to come in handy, whether it's going to be handy for you or whether you're just going to leave it to your heirs to enjoy. You know, that's, of course, it's up to you, obviously, you know. So you have to buy them the equivalent of dollar amount in purses and shoes. See, thankfully, Vivian's not like that. Like, she likes to shop, but she's frugal in the way that she's one of those people who loves to go out and find a bargain. So she'll go to these stores, and she gets excited about finding like this cool pair of jeans that maybe only cost her like $12 or something at some store, you know. Oh, I got a nice top for only $6 or $7. That's the kind of, you know, it's almost like she's a collector of the clothes that way. But yeah, super cheap stuff, you know. So it doesn't matter, even if she buys a lot of it, it wouldn't matter. It's so cheap, you know. So no, I don't have to be the guy buying the Manolo Blahnik shoes for $2,000, those Hermes purses and stuff like that. No, she's not like that. But again, going back to what I said earlier, if you kind of know right off the bat what kind of a person you're getting yourself involved with. If I had seen that she was into the high-priced clothing and stuff like that, I never would have gone out with her in the first place. That's I know what that means, you know. Yeah, I'm not going to work and you know, so I can blow part of my salary on worthless clothes that becomes worthless the second you take it out of the store and the 10-day return policy has ended. You know, so yeah. Oh, sorry. Notice Ruben doesn't do unboxing videos for his boxers. Nobody wants to see my package, as we talked about earlier, Marcus. Think of the extra art you can buy if you experience it. John, man, you're out with the jokes, man. You got to come around more often. What's up with that? Got to watch out for Zipatone. Yeah. Have a thrift for vintage Levi's. The cold Canadian winters. Donate new or used boxes to Ruben. No used boxes, please. New, I'll take. You know, why not? But anyways, yeah, man. I think that's we had a good time. I think we should wrap it here. What do you think, Derek? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, sounds good. So just stick with me until we go off. Don't hang up. Everybody, I just want you to know, as I mentioned earlier in the show. Here, let me pop it up here. Well, first of all, I'll let you guys know, and we'll call it for tonight. Thank you, first of all, to everybody who came in tonight, and especially those of you who hung out for the whole duration, but also those of you who hung out for as long as you could hang out before having to go take care of dinner or the family or what have you. And you're welcome, Dwayne. Thank you. Have a great week yourself. Save a fortune on haircuts. See, you see what I mean? I'm thrifty. I haven't paid for a haircut in over 20 years. So there you go. But yeah, thanks everybody. Really, really appreciate you always coming in and hanging out. And I love these hangouts. We haven't done it in so long. I don't know a couple of months. I think the last one we did was the one with Rob, Wolby fan. I think that was the last one. Yeah. So Derek, thank you obviously for doing this.
You're welcome, and thanks for having me on and everything, and thanks for plugging all my crap at the bottom there. If anybody wants to, I've got chronological history of comic books to film. That's history of comics on film. And then if you like podcasts, if you like, comics and pop culture and all that kind of stuff, anime, tokusatsu, go to fanholespodcast.blogspot.com or go to any, podcatcher. You could look it up, subscribe, whatever.
Yeah, and remember, you don't have to do the work of remembering all that. Those links are right down here below in the description of this video. So please give them a shot and check it out and see if it's something that you might want to maybe listen to on your way to and from work. Who knows, right? So thank you, Brian. Likewise, have a good night yourself. See you soon. Thank you, Rich, as always, to you as well. I really appreciate you always coming by whenever you can. And always telling us it's a great show. So I really appreciate that. I hope we can do more of these. I must say, I like looking at art like everybody else, but I must say I really love being able to come in once in a while and not having to have know that I didn't have to create a bunch of slides to show friggin' 20 or 25 scans of artwork or whatever. Just it's so much more relaxing to just come in and chat and shoot the shit, yeah. So it's a lot of fun, and we had a lot more people than usual. I was surprised. So you have a lot of fans out there, Derek. I think a lot of people.
I tried to pimp and promote it before I got on, so hopefully that did the trick. I don't know.
That's cool, man. That's cool. I appreciate that. And who else we got? Carl, I was listening and packing packages to send out. Nice. Sell stuff to buy stuff. Exactly. Yeah, that's way. And this way you don't have to put new money in, Carl. So yeah, thank you, Rickster, as always. I appreciate you, my friend. Have a good night, TJ. You as well. Number one Marvel fan, thank you. Always try to hang the entire show. I know you do. I know. Thank you so much. Bootlegging, thank you as well. Thanks, really appreciate it. And you too, David, for hanging in all day. I can't believe you could stay so long while you're at work, David. How do you do that? Wow, that's wild. But thank you. And yeah, man, that's it, everybody. So please tune in next week when this guy, Carl Sodergren, will be my guest. We'll be doing a show and tell together. And I might as well, as we always do, leave you with the thumbnail. So let me put that here. Oops, wrong one. Here it is. There you go. And I thought that was very clever. So yeah, if you wanna read that, everybody, I think you'd enjoy the cleverness of it. And I came up with that because Carl sent me this photo of himself, which is really, really fun, holding the Death of Superman issue. And he happens to have the original art page from which this panel comes from, which I think is pretty funny. And it's a Marvel comic. X Factor, I believe. And the cop, I think Quicksilver just whizzed by at super speed. And he's like, holy crap, 189 miles per hour. Oh, man, what's that's? It's either my imagination or equipment screw up, or maybe a collector zipping around still trying to find one of those Death of Superman comics. So it really went well with his picture. So I thought that was fun. So yeah, everybody, tune in next week to see that. And appreciate you, Caesar. Thank you. Have a good night. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And of course, that is extended to my wonderful friend and guest, Derek, of course. And yeah, Miki, thank you. Thank you. Have a good night yourself. Thanks so much. So that's it, everybody. Please tune in next week. Don't forget, 8:00 p.m. Eastern and 5:00 Pacific. And we will see you then. Peace.
Good night.
Good night, all.